Overnight, we're in the 20s, even a few flurries possible. Not a big deal. We're back in the 40s Tuesday afternoon. I'm meteorologist Chris Michaels in the WRAL Severe Weather Center.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 3 o'clock, check of your money. Dow Jones is down 75 points today to 44,835.
Snap, Bailey gives Smothers, plunges ahead, spins, leads, touchdown.
Griswold fakes it to Hampton. Now he's going to go up top. Caught! Touchdown, North Carolina!
Bailey takes the snap, left hashes, airs it out, once the end zone, Concepcion, touchdown!
Shovel pass to Hampton, wide open. 30, 20, 10, touchdown Tar Heels!
Snap, Bailey, handoff, Smothers, dives, touchdown! NC State scores!
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. I'm Tim Donnelly, Dennis Cox producing the show. We have the original crew back together for the first time in like a week. And we have a lot to break down. Hopefully you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Hopefully you spend some family time, you watch some sports, and you're here ready to roll on a Monday. I know I am. We have a Monday Soundoff coming up at 3:30, so have your dialing fingers ready. We'll be looking for your calls, your contributions to the show, starting at 3:30. Bookmark the number, 919-860-5326. It's the Heister Automotive Group hotline. This is kind of, I don't know, an analogous way to put it. I've increased my vocabulary while out.
Okay, you increased the lexicon over the holiday break. I see it.
I read the thesaurus for hours on end.
Respect.
It's an analogous way to put it. The last 24 hours for me, because I was doing the family thing, a lot of kids running around, couldn't, like I normally am, just be planted in front of the couch while watching sports. So the last 24 hours, I've been doing a lot of rewatching and catching up, a lot of condensed games, making sure I watched all of the Canes games, making sure I watched, the recorded football games that I had. And I actually had this thought while watching one of the few games I did watch live, the North Carolina State UNC football game. If you had watched none of those two teams over the last 4 seasons, and you only watched the game on Saturday, the North Carolina State UNC season-ending game this year, if that's the only game you've watched of these two teams in the last 4 years, you'd get it. That's all you need to watch. It was the perfect encapsulation of the last half decade for each of these teams. Let me explain what I mean there. NC State had a bunch of stuff go wrong. Couldn't stop the run. Had some foolish penalties. Had some turnovers. There were big misses by the coaching staffs in both directions. But it was all hidden behind the fact that they beat UNC. Isn't that the last 4 years? Come in with huge expectations, have things go wrong for different reasons. The transfer portal doesn't work. This guy has high expectations. It doesn't work. This transfer has high expectations. It doesn't work. But for 4 straight years, you put a bow on it at the end of the year. You beat UNC. You head off into the offseason feeling like you did something. That's NC State the last 4 seasons. Now let's look at UNC. What did UNC have? If you just watched Saturday, you had one guy who you watched and went, well, that right there is a for sure pro. That guy right there is an NFL player playing college football. He is great. He is doing great things. He is making great plays. He is making highlights. And then UNC wasted that performance. Is that not the last 4 or 5 seasons for UNC? You have the number 3 overall pick, Drake May. You have an NFL quarterback prior to that in Sam Howell. You have Cedric Gray, an NFL player. You have Tez Walker, a 4th-round pick. You have NFL guys putting up great performances. But in the end, what do you have for it? Mm-hmm. Well, on Saturday, you had Omari and Hampton running all over the place. 50-yard touchdown here, 50-yard touchdown there, over 100 yards rushing, darn near 100 yards receiving. But what do you have to show for it? A loss to your rival. If they boiled down, I could have saved a lot of time over the last 4 seasons. I could have saved a lot of time not watching the full deal. This was the Cliff Notes version. Right? If we were doing a book report on these two schools, these two schools' football teams, the Cliff Notes version would have been that game on Saturday. Sure, did NC State save their season from being a 100% disaster? Missing the bowl game, having to answer all those questions going into the offseason? Yes, they saved it from being a 100% disaster with a win against a rival. I still think if you put this season on the spectrum from disaster to success, it's closer to disaster. But it's not 100%. Dave Doran, the head coach, talked about beating UNC for the 4th straight year.
When I got hired, they didn't say win 6 and go to a bowl. They said whatever you do, beat Carolina. And we did that for the 4th year in a row. And that means a lot. To me, it means a lot to our program. There's a reason I haven't been able to wear blue for 12 years, for real. Like, I'm not allowed to wear the color blue, you know? And so this game is deep. And when I said it's the biggest game of the year, it is the biggest game of the year. And our players know that. Our fans know that. Our administration knows that. And it's meaningful, you know? And I don't say that to brag. I'm just saying that because it's a rivalry. It's the oldest rivalry in the ACC. So don't tell me it doesn't mean more. It does. It means a lot to our fan base and definitely to me as the head football coach. You know, to say that I'm 8-4 now in this rivalry means a lot to me.
I think that's often said. Oh, I don't care how many games you win, just beat your rival. I also don't think that's true. I also think it's a both thing. If you're going to be bad, it helps if you at least beat your rival. If you're not going to live up to expectations, it helps if you at least beat your rival. But in real life, the expectation is you win a bunch of games and beat your rival. Oh, they didn't say win 6 games and go to a bowl game. Well, they don't have to say that. You're a football coach. I think the expectation is very obvious that winning games is what everybody wants, and then they put the added emphasis on the rivalry. Did NC State show fight and grit and poise and win against a rival? Yes. Was it a chippy game? Yes. Did everybody get an unsportsmanlike conduct, a warning, penalty, whatever you want to call it, at the same time? Everyone on the – yes. There was all of that going on. Did your young quarterback take another step forward on a game-winning drive? Yes. Don't let it distract you from the things that need to be fixed. You still couldn't stop the run. Do you know what stopped the run for UNC? UNC choosing not to give the ball to Omarion Hampton more. I didn't see NC State stopping that guy all game.
No. Gosh, the shovel pass that he took for a touchdown might as well have been a run.
Like I think I actually tweeted this out where it was like, you know, normally I do think I would be really upset with a team for somehow letting the one super productive part of the offense just be that wide open and that available on a crucial play like that. But I'm not sure if you had 2 guys on him, it would have mattered. Omarion Hampton was running through arm tackles. He was making plays the entire game. It really was 2 teams scrapping and clawing. And by the way, give UNC credit. I know Mack Brown was the lame duck coach. I do think the players fought to the very, very end.
Oh, yeah. That was evident.
I think there's, you know, do you have it in your heart to keep fighting? Both teams, the answer was yes. It was just an execution thing down the stretch. Rough day to be a defensive coordinator in that one. Because multiple times in that 4th quarter, you were one stop away from winning the game. And the offenses found ways to keep making plays.
It's amazing because the first half, the offenses were non-existent for both teams.
Again, yeah.
Yeah.
It's and CJ Bailey, right, I'm sitting here saying I was impressed. There was some ugly there too. I think that might be the most impressive part about CJ Bailey. No matter how bad it gets, he does just enough to have you leaving the game going like he took a step forward. If you were just doing the stat updates, watching other games and refreshing, there was points in time where you're like, is CJ Bailey playing? Is he in the game? The stats haven't updated yet. It's like, no, that's basically what he's been doing. But then at the end of the game, he comes up with the deep ball to Noah Rogers that looked impossible to complete. He fit it into a like 1 foot by 1 foot box, 35 yards downfield, and it changes the complexity of the game. Ends up winning you the game. I don't know if anyone should be too proud other than you won your rival, you get the bragging rights, but there's a lot to fix on both of those rosters. Both of those coaching staffs. And both are going to be losing talented players for multiple reasons. Casey Concepcion announced he's going in, or it was revealed by, what was it, On 3, that he's going into the transfer portal. Omarion Hampton is one step away from declaring for the NFL draft. I assure you, there is going to be talent that needs to be replaced, coaches that need to be replaced, assistant coaches that need to be replaced, hope that needs to be replaced for both of these schools. But they both do have a bowl game to help out. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It was not just college football over the weekend. There was NHL, there was NFL, there was college basketball, there was a little bit of everything, including another pretty darn good game for the Panthers. But before we get there, Tim Donnelly here for Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Bailey's has the largest Omega shop within a shop in the country. It is referring, they're calling it the shop within a shop as their Omega showroom inside the Raleigh Village District location of Bailey's Fine Jewelry. You walk in, you go left. It is, quite frankly, if you really want to drop the mic, if you will, on a ultimate gift, right? You want somebody to really have their socks blown off. An Omega watch from Bailey's Fine Jewelry, you cannot do better than that. Visit Bailey's new Omega showroom in Raleigh's Village District location to explore their finest timepieces, from the Seamaster and the Speedmaster models, which are iconic, to the more dressy watches like the Constellation and the DeVille. Find your perfect watch at Bailey's Fine Jewelry. You can learn more at baileybox.com, but as I often tell you, there's nothing like trying it on and putting it on your wrist to really get a feel. So just head on out, talk to them, talk to Mickey, the timepiece manager, talk to the employees at Bailey's Fine Jewelry. They can help you really get the feel for what a great timepiece can do for you or a loved one this holiday season. It's all at Bailey's Fine Jewelry, Village District location. When you walk in, look left, you'll see the Omega showroom. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Panthers, they lost in overtime. I don't believe in moral victories, but they were kind of the winner in this one. I'll tell you how next.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
The LA Chargers have a great head coach in Jim Harbaugh.
Sure do.
They've got a really good quarterback in Justin Herbert. They've got a good run game. They've got a great pass rush. And they've got a good kicker. Those are the things that you need to win a championship in this league. They got all the elements. There is a level of subjectivity that we have to view it through in order to project what they're going to be.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Oh no, my phone.
Hear that? It's the sound of a skater dropping her phone and smashing it on the ice. Yep, it's definitely broken. But at Verizon, we got you. This Black Friday, trade in any phone, any condition from one of our top brands and get a new Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus on Unlimited Ultimate and Watch 7 and Tab S9 FE 5G. That's up to $1,900 in value. So you'll save big on 3 great gifts. Hurry into Verizon this Black Friday. Service plan required for watch and tablet. Up to $1,900 value based on phone, watch, and tablet. Trade in and additional terms apply. See Verizon.com for details.
Hey, what do you say? John Forsland here from my friends at Buffalo Brothers. I call games in Seattle and around the country, but I still spend a lot of time right here in the Triangle. When I'm here to see my family around the holidays, we always head to Buffalo Brothers. It's my go-to spot for stocking stuffers. Now through December 24th, buy a $40 gift card for someone special and get a $10 gift card for you. Now that's a deal, baby. Visit any of their 5 locations and buffbrothers.com. Aw, man, now I want wings.
Here's Brandon with Parkway Sleep Centers.
Tired of waiting for a sleep treatment? At other sleep centers, it can take 6 to 8 months just to get an appointment and cost you thousands more. Not Parkway Sleep Health Centers. We schedule you within weeks and we'll save you money too. We have over 20 years of experience serving the Triangle. Let our expert team help you sleep better sooner.
End your sleep problems. Live your best life. Experience the Parkway Sleep difference. Visit parkwaysleep.com and start your journey to better sleep today. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep, sound health.
It's time for the Coastal Scholar Athlete of the Month.
Creighton Blackwell here from Coastal Credit Union and 99.9 The Fan. We are here at Broughton High School, and we're here to celebrate the next scholar athlete, Rachel Lambert.
Yay! Rachel is a hard worker and she's dedicated. She is a big impact in my life, both on and off the mat. She's a super selfless person and a great all-around athlete because she pushes herself every day to be the best, and she's always trying each practice to improve.
Rachel is the quintessential scholar athlete. She's so passionate about her academics, and she's also just as passionate about her athletics.
Winning this award means a lot to me. I'm really excited to be able to represent both my team and Broughton and recognize all of my teammates' hard work.
Your coaches talk about how you're a leader both on and off the mat, and you still make time to excel in school. How do you balance this life with school and sports?
My parents, my coach, and my teammates are always supporting me and pushing me to be the best I can be in both school and in cheer.
You're very involved in serving your community, like your mission trips and things like that. What impact does this kind of work have in other aspects of your life?
I've learned many valuable life lessons from my work in the community that I'm able to apply to cheer, school, and hopefully I'll be able to apply it in the future as well.
Congratulations, Rachel.
For over 20 years, 99.9 The Fan and Coastal Credit Union have been recognizing scholar athletes at Triangle area schools. If you'd like to nominate a high school athlete, text AWARD to 919-860-5326.
Is your home ready for the holidays? Beat the holiday rush and call our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. Pay $40 per room of carpet cleaned and take 25% off your air duct cleaning. Book online anytime at ZeroResRaleigh.com. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Guess what? The Panthers are doing their absolute best to play both sides of the fence on what I thought was a nearly impossible situation. I said it probably a month ago now. Actually, no, probably three. They had the bye week in there, and it was a little bit more recent than that. But I said the ideal for the Panthers is to be in close games, have Bryce Young play well, and lose those close games despite building momentum, because then you keep building your draft pick, you keep building the momentum of your young guys playing well, you get the best of both worlds. The Panthers are having their cake and eating it too. They are having their success and raising their draft capital too. They're doing both. The last 2 weeks have been perfect. The last 2 weeks, this is what's happened for the offense and Bryce Young. They've walked off the field either tied or with the lead with less than 2 minutes to go in the game. They've lost both games. Now, I'm not saying you know, as a competitor, you're excited about a loss. Everyone in that locker room should be as bummed and as disappointed in those losses as possible. But us on the outside, we can look at it and go, well, don't mind if I do take this top 5 pick right here and see if it can improve a little bit. And still get excited about the touchdown pass from Bryce Young to Adam Thielen that gave him the lead late in the game. Bryce Young, after the game, talked about players taking ownership of the loss.
Just finding ways to finish. Throughout the game, there's just missed opportunities, and it comes back. All of us as a team having to own it. It's not. It's easy from the outside. You could look at one play or one. That's not our how we look at it. We all have to look in the mirror, see what it is. We know we're there, but that's, there aren't any moral victories. There aren't any. It's a win or a loss, and we didn't get it done. So I think we all just, we all have that bitter feeling, and we got to get back to it tomorrow and learn from it.
That's what you should be saying. We got to learn. We got to take ownership. We're going to get better. You got to, but from my perspective, that's about perfect. From my perspective, that game was about perfect. And I hear what you may be saying, like, wait a second. You didn't have as many first downs as the Bucs. You obviously scored less points than the Bucs. You had less yards than the Bucs. You had there's so many things. You did win the turnover battle, but There's so many things that you didn't do as well as the Bucs.
Yeah, like them rushing for 236 yards.
That's one of them. That is 100% one of them. But it's not just the raw stats. Sometimes it's who's making the plays. When I watch the Panthers, and I've talked about this young player takeover, when I see the young guys making the best plays for the Panthers, I get excited about the future. Even if Adam Thielen is forced into action and he's making one-handed crazy catches and he's making touchdown catches that for some reason they say aren't touchdown catches, and then he makes real touchdown catches that he does get credit for later in the game. He's kind of forced into action because Jalen Coker and Jatavian Sanders, wide receiver and rookie wide receiver and rookie tight end, are still out with injuries. So I'm fine with him playing his role. Xavier Legette didn't have his best day but got 8 targets. That's good enough for me. Learn from those. I like it. We got our first glimpse of Jonathan Brooks. 3 catches, 23 yards, had a long of 18. Guy's got some open field ability. The 9-yard rush was pretty nice, too. A little bit of burst, especially for a guy coming off an injury. Like to see that. But the best part is the young player takeover is spreading to the defense. Shaw Smith-Wade, interception. Crucial one, too. Right, I listed all the stats that Tampa was better than for the Panthers, but yet they made it to overtime. Why? Because the Panthers won the turnover battle. One of those came from Shaw Smith-Wade, and one of them came in over. Never mind. Trevin Wallace, another rookie, 3rd-round pick, linebacker, massively important sack in overtime that, quite frankly, should have won the game. I'm not blaming Chuba Hubbard. I thought it was weird that they didn't keep him more involved throughout the game and then asking him to, kind of ice the game while cold in overtime. It is his fault, right? We've all seen Remember the Titans. That had nothing to do with you fumbling my football. But weird situation there. Not blaming him for the entire loss, but the Wallace sack should have won the game.
You would have thought.
Amari Barno got a sack.
Yeah.
I'm counting him as a young player, even though he's been around for a little bit, because he's still young and hasn't played a ton outside of special teams.
Just in his 3rd year.
There is a young player takeover happening. If you can point to a loss and say, hey, all the young players or most of the young players either thrived or learned, and some of the maybe veteran players were for less than the reason why they weren't able to win, I'll take that every single time. Dave Canales, after the game, talked about his message to the team after the loss.
It was just the same message I gave to all of you. It's the things that we control, the things that were well within our control in terms of just getting down there to, in field goal range, coming away with points there, taking care of the ball at the end right there, because that's on us, So that's the point to, drive it home to the team. It was the same message that I just gave to all of you.
Coach speak. We're always going to get it. Do you know what this team is learning? How to play in close games. And we're seeing the importance of that all across sports. Look what the Chiefs are doing. They can play awful, but they know how to play in close games, so more often than not, they're coming away with the win at the end. Look at Duke football.
Yeah.
They're not blowing teams out. They have a 9-win season, potentially the second 10-win season in program history if they win a bowl game, largely because they found a way to win some of those tight games. The Panthers, over the last 4 games, 2 wins, 2 losses, have been decided by a total of 4 points in regulation. That's absurd.
Yeah, because you had an overtime field goal win against the Giants, an overtime field goal loss.
So obviously in regulation, those were decided by 0.
Yeah, and then buzzer beater field goal against the Chiefs where you lose and you win by 1 point against the Saints at home.
It was a 1-point win against the Saints, exactly, and then a 3-point loss against the Chiefs. They are getting so many reps in clutch situations where you just have to learn how to stay calm. You have to learn how to, the craziest part about Patrick Mahomes in all these close games, he has freaky athletic ability and he has that freaky connection thing with Kelsey where, he breaks left and for some reason the ball's there. That's not even what Andy Reid called. But I'm always baffled. And actually Baker Mayfield had some of this in the game-tying drive for the Bucs. where it's like 30 seconds is on the clock, but they're operating as if they have 4 minutes because they know the timeouts and they know playing the sideline and you know, all right, let's get up, let's spike it. Like, they're just so good at it. The Panthers aren't there yet, but they're getting those reps in rapid succession. I think the last month of the season, meaning or I guess it's 5 weeks because you had a bye in there. The last 5 weeks of this season for the Panthers, meaning the 5 weeks that just finished, have been some of the most important games of what will hopefully be a long run by the current group, right? The Morgan Canales alignment, and you know, I think some fans are like one more good game of Bryce away from buying a jersey. If they end up being around for a long time, I think they're going to look back and point to this month as when things started to come together. And it didn't look like they were going to come together up until this month. Yeah, but they're coming together in a big way.
And they got a tough one this coming weekend against the Eagles. Like Canales and Bryce Young, and like offensively, super tested.
Yep.
By the way, the Eagles, I see a note here from Brandon Lee Gouton on X. Vic Fangio's defense, who's the defensive coordinator for the Eagles, since their bye week in Week 5, have only allowed 13.6 offensive points per game.
We'll talk about this game a bunch more. Eagles, I saw, are 12.5-point favorites. That's a big
low, huh?
Spread.
That low, huh?
That's a, you know, we talked about this going in the Chiefs game. That is the advantage you have is you have nothing to lose. You can lose by darn near 2 touchdowns, and everyone goes, that's what we expected. Meanwhile, if it's close at the end, house money. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Speaking of money, Tim Donnelly here for Gordon Miller and Miller Lending, the home of the no-cost loan. Gordon's been doing no closing cost loans since 1987, and I point that out just to say the market and its volatility over the last year, the interest rates up and down, and nobody knows what's going to happen. You see some mortgage companies maybe considering advertising these no closing cost loans, or maybe they're floating it out there. And I'm going like, yeah, you could go to someone that's trying to figure it out, right? Then, hey, they'll try to figure it out with the most important investment you have in your life, your home mortgage. Or you go to Gordon Miller and Miller Lending, somebody that's been doing it since 1987. They've been perfecting it and getting better at it, and working on the different ways to communicate it to you, to make sure you're aware of what your money is doing, and be aware of how you can remain flexible and adaptable. So if the market does change, you are ready to pounce, especially if those rates drop. The no closing cost loan, 0 means 0 at Miller Lending. No third-party fees whatsoever. If you are interested, and you should be, go ahead and give them a call at 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377. Or you can visit them online at millerlending.com. Once again, that is millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, and MLS number 250-2146. We'll take a break. When we come back, it is a Monday Soundoff. We are opening up the phone lines, the Heister Automotive Group hotline, 919-860-5326. I'll say that phone number again for you in a second. We want all of your opinions, all of your reactions to the sports that were on this weekend, whether it's the Panthers, the Canes, the college basketball, the college football. A lot to react to there as seasons come to a close. Heister Automotive Group hotline, 919-860-5326. Call in now. We'll get to your calls coming up next.
Drive-through car washes are quick, but a mobile detailer gets to the nitty-gritty. Autobell Car Wash is the sweet spot between both. We quickly clean your car from the inside out to save you time. Get the app at autobell.com.
Make holiday magic this year with something beautiful and timeless from Diamonds Direct. A stunning eternity band, a pair of classic diamond stud earrings, something new and eye-catching from a world-class designer, or maybe you're looking for that perfect engagement ring or a fabulous timepiece. At Diamonds Direct, we have the perfect gifts for the season, starting at around $500. Come and let our experts help you pick out that headliner gift, or for some fabulous ideas, see the online seasonal gift guide now at diamondsdirect.com. You can even chat now with a virtual assistant for the ultimate convenience. convenience. Whether you connect online or in person, you're guaranteed to get the extraordinary value, ironclad warranties, and white glove service Diamonds Direct is known for. And to help make your purchase even more affordable, we've got special financing so you can spread out your payments. Get directions, details, special showroom hours, and our holiday gift guide now at DiamondsDirect.com. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to HIMSS.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the propane tank on your grill first, before hosting a tailgate.
Let's fire up. Here, let me try. Seriously? You didn't check the propane? Who wants chips?
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
Salt and vinegar?
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
It's bow time. 'Tis the season for food and family, but thanks to Bojangles, you don't have to spend hours in the kitchen when loved ones come home for the holidays. Set down the spatula and put away the mixing bowls, because this holiday season, Bojangles is ready to help you celebrate with all your family favorites like Chicken Supreme, Cajun Filet Biscuits, or a big bow box of hand-breaded chicken, scratch-made biscuits, and fixins for the whole family. We'll make the food so you can focus on making memories. Head to Bojangles and gift yourself a taste of home. It's bow time.
If it's ho-ho-ho time, it's Bo-Bo-Bo time. Time to order a party-sized platter of that bodacious Bojangles flavor before your next holiday celebration. Choose a Bojangles Supremes platter and get 50 whole breast tenderloin fillets. Or go with a Bojangles dessert platter and get 2 dozen Bo-Berry biscuits, 2 dozen cinnamon twists, or 1 dozen of each. It's a platter full of Bo-liciousness. And don't forget to pick up Bojangles gift cards. Just the right gift for anyone on your list. Hurry, it's Bo time.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is a Monday Soundoff, the portion of our week where we kick things off with your calls. Whatever you want to talk about, we talk about. But you have to lead us there by way of calling in on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, 919-860-5326. Open right now for your call, so feel free. 919-860-5326. We'll kick things off. We'll kick things off with a little bit of a local flair. We'll go with Kenneth in Colorado Springs, who wants to talk Carolina Panthers. So, Kenneth, thank you very much for calling in. Go ahead and sound off.
Hello, Tim. Love the content, man. Follow the show every day.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say, man, that Carolina, I'm so proud of them. Starting with Bryce, I doubted him at the beginning of the year. After those 2 games, I was like, man, he's not it. He's not the savior. He's not it. But with everything going down, with the team getting better, even watching the defense, even though the defense did give up a lot of in the middle stuff, but I really see a lot of potential going further with this team. A lot of people need to stop thinking about the playoffs and start thinking about the positivity of what's going on around us. And just like Detroit, how they came up, started up, and then
they just started to flourish. And I see us doing something like that, especially with this draft. If we can get a really good draft pick and still play great, I'm all for it.
The only thing I would push back on is, and I hate always being like the hey, let's get more moderate on our take here. When Bryce was playing bad, all of us, and maybe me included on this, reacted a little too harshly. He's done. He's a zero. He's never going to be good again. Now that he's playing a little bit better, let's not throw him into the savior conversation, right? Let's not act like he's a finished product. It's so much better, but it's not the end of the road. Appreciate the call, though, Kenneth. Call back in anytime, and thank you for the kind words at the beginning. All right. Again, I hate always saying like, well, you know, when the fans are at a 0, I'm always going like, well, maybe you should be at a 3. When the fans are at a 10, I'm going like, well, maybe you should be at a 7, which isn't like a fun place to be. But I don't think Bryce is. I mean, I don't think it's 100% he's going to be the quarterback next year. I think it's becoming more and more likely by the week. But you got to open up your mind to who knows what they're thinking in their evaluations. Let's go to Ryan in Oxford. He is Ryan wants to talk a little Ohio State. How's Ohio State fans feeling out there? I think we're going to get a good temperature reading from Ryan. Have that ready. Ryan, we appreciate you for calling in on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. What do you want to sound off on?
Well, I appreciate y'all taking my call. Long-time listener, second-time caller.
Welcome back.
Grew up in the great state of Ohio. Born and raised Buckeye, Browns, Indians, Cavaliers, Ohio. True Ohioan. And we've lost to the team up north 4 years in a row. We have no bowl games worthy of showing. We have no national championships of showing. Ryan Day and Chip Kelly needs to go. Absolutely, they need to go. They cannot win when it matters. They cannot, honestly, win any big game. Yes, we won a couple of top 5 matchups, but we lost the ones that mattered. And now we're fighting for a 3-loss Alabama for a spot in the playoff picture, which is ridiculous. Ryan Day and Chip Kelly need to go because they don't know how to win the rivalry.
Okay,
I'd rather win this rivalry more every year than win a national championship. They need to go. They don't know what it means to beat that team anymore.
All right, let me just ask a question here. Are you prepared to take the risk that comes with replacing a coach like Ryan Day? Because what Ryan Day has proven is he's going to get you 11 wins a year, right? Almost like clockwork. You're right. He does not beat Michigan nearly ever. But are you willing to perhaps, right? There might be a 20% chance you bring in a guy that's now beating Michigan and competing for national titles, but there might be a 50% chance you bring in a guy that's going to be winning 7 or 8 games and is going to get fired in 3 years. Are you willing to take that chance?
Ohio State football alone, just with their name, will bring in top recruits to compete for a national championship. But I want to beat that team up north. I think maize and blue is the ugliest colors in the world. I think that university is garbage. I want nothing to do with that state. I want to win every single year and plant their flag right in the middle of the big house.
You are definitely one of the rivalry. We appreciate the call. Call back in anytime. Yeah. I mean, I love it. By the way, it's not the uniform, right? As somebody that played for the University of Delaware and has very, very similar uniforms, it's the people that wear it. It's not the uniform.
Delaware has a better shade of blue.
I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'd be lying if our fan base didn't occasionally buy a Michigan like hat or a Michigan car decal and just pretend it was Delaware, because there's a lot cooler stuff for Michigan. They got more gear. But we definitely don't claim Michigan. Let's be clear. Let's go back to the call-in line. It is a Monday sound off. The phone lines are open for whatever you want to sound off on. Heister Automotive Group hotline, 919-860-5326 is the number to call in. Daniel in Red Oak wants to talk about Bryce Young. Daniel, thank you very much for calling in. Go ahead and sound off on the young quarterback for the Panthers.
Yes, sir. Thanks for taking the call. You know, I was at the game, and I thought Bryce played well, especially, you know, coming in clutch and throwing that touchdown with 30 seconds to go.
Agreed.
But, unfortunately, our defense, I don't understand why they always play so daggone soft, and it's just ridiculous. I mean, all you got to do is, and then the kickoff, why don't you kick it in bounds and let them take time off instead of kicking the ball into the back of the end zone, and you still leave them with 30 seconds on the clock. And when they're going to get the ball at the 30. But all in all, I thought it was a good game, and I'm happy to see Bryce playing a little bit better and playing well and, you know, taking care of the football, not turning it over and stuff.
Not a bad call. A lot of good thoughts there. Appreciate the call. Call back in anytime. I'll react to the ones that I can remember real quickly here. One, the defense gave up 23 points in regulation, and they had 4 sacks, and they did force the 2 turnovers, and they are, as I've said many times, I don't think they're just the most physically gifted defensive unit in the NFL, to put it nicely. Derek Brown out, Brian Burns playing for the Giants. There's kind of a lack of the super elite talent on that defense. I'm not sure you can expect them to hold too many teams, especially a team like Tampa with Baker and Mike Evans, who are playing really well. And I mean, even the running back, Bucky Irvin's kind of emerging. Holding them to 23, what do you want to do, 17, 14? That's a tough ask in the NFL. And, got the stop they needed in overtime. There's some good there. Now, as I was addressing that, I've forgotten some of the other. The coaching. The decision to kick it off deep into the end zone. This is one that I needed to be reminded of earlier. So this is me regurgitating what somebody else said to me earlier this season that I went, that's a good point. This is also Dave Canales' first season. He's a rookie head coach. Mm-hmm. And I think those are the things that you might go, when you're rewatching the games for the 37th time this offseason, you're going to go, I think I'm going to put on my laminated card for late game situations to make sure I make them return the kick in that situation, and I don't give them those seconds back. You can't squib it like you used to. It has to land in the landing zone, but I do think that's something he'll learn from, and he's a rookie, right? Just like we're giving Xavier Legette, hey, 8 targets wasn't your best. I think we have to give Dave Canales, hey, late game situation wasn't your best, and you got to live with that.
Yeah, there's some things, especially defensively late, when they got the tying drive with that 30 seconds left. For example, there's 6 seconds on the clock. Tampa had 1 timeout. They're trying to pick up a few more yards to make that field goal a little bit closer. And the defensive backs are sagged off. They're going for a quick hitter. Why are you 8 yards off? And then sure enough, they hit a quick 4-yard slant, go down, timeout. You made a 56-yard field goal, 55. Or, 51. Why aren't you uptight? It's that kind of coaching. Where is it? And also, there's a time where Mike Evans was lined up in the slot, and you have rookie Shaw Smith-Wade lined up over top of him. I'm
ironically,
J.C. Horn standing right next to him. I'm if I'm ever, I'll be you two switch. Let's be real. I'm that's Shift. A tough position to put your rookie 5th rounder in to guard Mike Evans. I remember told Chris Lee in the press box, I said, if that's the case, I'm putting Mike Evans in the slot the rest of this game.
And they did have him in the slot a lot.
Exactly.
I will say this. End-of-game management was horrendous in a lot of ways across the NFL. Thomas Brown and the Bears with Caleb Williams, yikes.
With Matt Eberflus.
Yep, Eberflus. And, Thomas Brown was the OC. You got to answer for some of that, and is now the acting head coach. But I'll say the Bucs put on a bit of a clinic on that 30-second drive, which is partially because the Panthers let them, but you also have to give credit to the Bucs for making it happen. Let's go to Nick and Garner. Wants to sound off on a few things here on a Monday Sound Off. Phone line remains open, 919-860-5326. Nick and Garner, go ahead and sound off. Thanks for joining.
Hey, Tim, thanks for taking my call.
Mm-hmm.
2 quick things. One, the Canes need to get a serviceable backup for a Piotr serviceable backup tandem and kind of have Spencer Martin be the emergency third guy. But my main thing, it's been 1,500 days since the boys in Powder Blue have beaten the Wolfpack, which is great to me. I want to know your take on the quote-unquote epidemic of the flag planting after the home team can't defend their home field. If it were me, if you don't want it to happen, take care of business and defend your home field.
Appreciate the call. I'll start with the flag planting deal and call back in anytime. We're going to have, just as a little bit of a teaser here, about an hour from now, we're going to go all in on the Canes goalie situation and how they got here and how do they avoid being here much longer / in the future. The flag planting deal, I hear you on if you don't want it to happen, don't lose the game. I hear you. But also, we have like a ton of rules across sports for no taunting, right? Like you can't do a 15-minute choreographed end zone dance, and under that kind of logic, you should be allowed to do anything you want, anytime you want. With the underlying fact be, if you don't want it to happen, don't lose, don't ever get beat. Like the reason why you have no taunting penalties is because it's disrespectful and because you don't want the chippiness to get out of hand. I want to see everybody be a bit more respectful. I want to see trash talking be allowed. Planting the flag does seem a step too far. Throwing punches in response to the flag being planted does seem a step too far. But that's how it happens, isn't it? It starts with a little bit of trash talk, and then somebody shoves, and then somebody punches, and then somebody plants a flag, and then somebody starts a melee, and then somebody – it's always 1% further. So I mean, I know what's going to happen. The NCAA is going to look at these fights, and they're going to say, what is the common denominator? And it's the flag planting beforehand. And they're just going to make a rule that there's no more flags allowed on the field. And teams will find something else to be disrespectful with, and it'll keep happening. I tend to believe there should be some form of discipline, I guess. Both sides.
ACC did issue public reprimands of both State Carolina as well as UVA and Virginia Tech. And I think there are fines issued to both teams.
I think they'll eventually just ban the big flags. And it'll be a bummer because it's cool when the cheerleaders have them and they run around after touchdowns and all that kind of stuff. But it's what you're going to have to do.
Yeah.
And when you get enough leash that you hurt yourself with it, you're going to get less leash.
He does bring up a good point. If you don't want it to happen, win.
Yeah, but that could be said for anything.
True.
Like, I hear that. And I think that's like rules of the street. Like, if you're playing street ball, yes. But we live in a civilized society. We have rules for a reason. If you don't want to have it happen, don't get beat. I hear it, but also I'm like, well, then why do we have any rules for anything that happens after plays? Stephen Wake Forest, you're up next on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, which is open for all of you out there. Monday Soundoff, 919-860-5326. Steve, thank you for calling in. Go ahead and sound off on your Blue Devils is what I have here in my notes.
Yeah, I just wanted to call and talk about the state champ from that little private school in Durham. It's been a pretty good year. I know Lashley will probably get Coach of the Year, but I think Diaz deserves some talk. Come in the way Elko Midnight Mike left those kids and had to put a staff together, and those kids have fought and played hard this year, and just wanted to give them a little recognition, and I'll hang up and listen to your comments.
Appreciate the call. You actually give me an opportunity to do something that I need to do today. I need to put my hand up and say, I didn't see this coming. I need to put my hand up and say, I did not see 9 wins for the Duke Blue Devils. I'm not going to pretend that I did. I like Manny Diaz as a head coach. I really liked Malik Murphy as an incoming transfer quarterback. 9 wins. You asked me preseason, I would have said that's too rich for my blood. And shout out to, and this part of the reason why I'm being kind of performative with this, shout out to, I'm going to find him on Twitter, C. Rimroy 12 on Twitter, because shortly after Duke picked up their 9th win, whoever C. Rimroy is on Twitter, tweeted a clip of me from a previous show where I said, hey, if they win 9 games, I'll put my hand up and say I did not see this coming, but I don't anticipate having to do that. That's almost word for word what I said. So, yeah, I did not see it coming. I'm not going to pretend to be the smartest guy in the room on this one. Credit to Duke. Credit to Manny Diaz. Credit to that leadership. Credit to the guys that stuck around. They got a chance for a 10-win season, and that's something to be celebrated. Let's go back to the call-in line here. Dennis, I have them kind of out of order here. Who should we go to next? Dennis, who should we go to next? Go to John in Raleigh. John in Raleigh, you were up next on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. Go ahead and sound off on NC State.
Hey, yeah, I've got 3 points to make. The first is, that was a great victory. We beat Carolina, and it was unfortunate that Mack Brown didn't announce his retirement or firing until after the game, because then we could have said we were the cause of it.
I think that's why it was leaked ahead of the game, is so you couldn't say that. I think that was part of it.
Probably. And congrats, that's 4 in a row for my coach I don't like, Grizzly Dave. At least he can beat Carolina. And I guess we were we were runner-up state champions this year. So if he could only achieve state champions next year, I guess that would give us a little more to go for.
All right.
Chuck Amato, great rivalry with John Bunning, missed those Carolina State games. Dick Sheridan, I think, was 5-0. He's all-time best against Carolina. And just say go Pack, and I'm finally glad I saw a game I enjoyed watching and enjoyed the victory.
Thank you very much for the call. Appreciate it. And you know, I do think, like I said earlier, the whole I don't care if you win any other games as long as you beat the rival, I think it's fun to say. I don't think it's true in your heart of hearts. And that's no disrespect to the callers, no disrespect to fans that say it. It's no disrespect earlier. We had the Ohio State super mad fan call in about the Michigan and say, I don't care as long as we beat that team. I don't think that's true, but it's fun to say. I think we want to win 11 games and beat the rival. I don't think anyone's signing up for hey, we'll win 4 games as long as one of the 4 is against the rival. And obviously Dave Dorn is not quite that, but testing it a little bit. The Drive with Tim Donnelly. We are taking your calls on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. Let's go to Matt in Burlington, wants to sound off on Mack Brown. Matt, thank you very much for calling in. Go ahead and sound off.
Hey, Tim. I just wanted to say, I've lost all respect for Mack Brown. He had the opportunity when they came to him after the Boston College game, and they said, we're going to go in a different direction. And he had every opportunity to say, you know what, I'm going to go out on, my terms and say, that I'm retiring and we're going to, go win this game against State. And he did the exact opposite. And he's going around telling the media, oh, I'm coming back next year. I'm coming back next year. And it just makes him look like a sour old man. I mean, he did this the first time, blaming the administration, the first time when he left to go to Texas, saying that he didn't get any support from the administration. But he has gotten support from the administration this time. They were the ones that, brought him out of retirement in his cushy ESPN job. They gave him 6 years. Mm-hmm. They gave him facilities. They bumped up the NIL. They gave him everything that he needed to get. And in return, he kind of blames the administration on his way out the door. So, yeah, I've lost all my respect for him.
Thank you very much for the call. And obviously you're entitled to your opinion. So I'm not going to say you're wrong or anything. But what I will say is part of me respects the guy that refuses to just, make it easier for you to move on from him. Like, if you're going to fire me, fire me. I'm not going to sit here and act like we're kumbaya all great because, if you still think you're best for the job, you still think you're best for the job. You might not be what's best for the job, but I don't fault someone for not wanting to make it easier to get rid of you. We have time for probably one more here at the top of the hour, but we're going to continue to work these calls in. Appreciate everybody that has called in or will later in the show because the phone lines have been lighting up. We'll go to Pat in Durham for our final call of the hour. Pat in Durham, you want to sound off on NC State? Go ahead and do so.
Yeah, State fan. I've had to suffer through a overrated, disappointing season. And so I finally have something to cheer about Saturday by beating Carolina, our rivals. And then we have some idiot in a no-class team that wants to plant a flag when why don't you just take the victory? It was pretty dumb, stupid, and kind of a shameful thing to do. Number one, the football team's so irrelevant. They got in a fight. They wouldn't use pepper spray. They'd use pepper shakers. And
let me ask you this though, because this is the hard question. So obviously your line for being too much is drawn at planting the flag. Where is the line? Is trash talk okay? Is doing a dance after you score okay? Is it where is the line?
I always thought actions spoke a lot louder than words, and in any situation you can use class, and that's exactly NC stood for no class.
Okay, well, because UNC does dance when they score, so that's why I'm asking. where your line is. If you want everybody to be Barry Sanders and toss the ball to the ref, that's fine. But
that's
but the
why
schools
he's my
you support
favorite
don't do
running
that
back,
either.
because he acts like he's been there before.
But I'm saying that the schools you support don't do that either, right? Right now, if you watch college football, both teams are very comfortable doing quite a bit after the whistle of very good plays.
Yes, yeah, and I mean, you scored or you did this, you did that. That should say enough. It's like you don't have to. I'm not into degrading somebody. They know they've just been beaten, and like I said, action speaks louder than words. And before I leave, by the way, I'd like to give props to Josh Allen, caught, passed, and ran for a touchdown. Historical. I mean, that guy. What a player.
Yep,
that put him over the MVP hump, I think.
I'm with you on that. Appreciate the call. As is everybody that had Josh Allen on their fantasy team and got a touchdown pass, a touchdown catch, a couple of receiving yards, a couple of passing yards. They got a little bit of everything. And if he does end up winning MVP, I know what clip they're going to show at the NFL Honors when they pass him the trophy, or when he's getting ready for a Super Bowl maybe and they're announcing the winner. It'll be that clip right there. Like I said, appreciate everybody that called in. We will try to get some more callers throughout the show, so keep your dialing fingers ready, as I often say. But when we come back, we do have to hit a little football at 4. We're talking Bryce Young after another solid performance by the second-year quarterback. Stick around.
Football is on the menu tonight.
Showtime, prime time.
And we're serving up some fresh AFC action.
Hot dog, man.
It's Cleveland and Denver.
Dominate on 3, 1, 2, 3, dominate.
Pregame starts at 7:30. Kickoff at 8:15.
Put up or shut up time.
The NFL on 99.9 The Fan is brought to you by Wake Med.
Here we go.
99.9 The Fan, the Triangle sports leader.
Monday night, you gotta feel it.
Stop letting high-interest debt weigh you down. Pay it all off in days thanks to Loan Pronto's new Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox from my friends at Loan Pronto. Imagine a completely hassle-free way to cash out your home equity. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan uses AI-driven tech to get you approved for cash out in as little as 1 day. One client got $100,000 approved in under 24 hours, wiped out their debt, launched a home improvement project, and is now saving over $1,000 a month. Instant approvals, low fixed rates, fast transfers. Get cash to consolidate all your debt and get a fresh start for the new year. Call Loan Pronto now and see how much you qualify for. Imagine this time next week, you could be credit card debt free. Call 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Are you looking for the perfect holiday gift? Did you know that Bailey's has something for everybody and every budget? Sure, we're known for our designer jewelry, fine diamonds, and luxury watches, but we also have a vast selection of beautiful jewelry and gifts under $500. You can make a piece of our Bailey's collection yours this Christmas. Add a little sparkle with the popular Icon Collection Tiny Diamond Hoops in either white, rose, or yellow gold for $395. For only $250, check out our beautiful Sterling Collection Diamonds by the Yard bracelet. Or select one of our Bailey's perfect layering necklaces. For $325, our Goldmark Station necklace, or for only $275, our Icon Puffed Heart pendant. We're celebrating over 75 years of making holiday gifting easy. You can shop online at baileybox.com, or we invite you to visit one of our locations in Raleigh, Cary, Rocky Mount, and Greenville to see why every woman wants a Bailey box under the tree.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Middle of the day Monday, it's cold out there. It's going to stay cold through the afternoon, mostly sunny, highs in the low to mid 40s. Overnight, we're in the 20s, even a few flurries possible. Not a big deal. We're back in the 40s Tuesday afternoon. I'm meteorologist Chris Michaels in the WRAL Severe Weather Center.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb and Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock, check if your money. Dow Jones is down 117 points today to 44,793. Market update brought to you by the Good Feet Store. Ready to step into a healthy and active lifestyle? Come to the Good Feet Store and experience the difference. Discover how a simple step can lead to a life of pain-free possibilities.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we talk football at 4, we have Canes tickets to give away at about 4:15 today.
That's right, we do.
Which game?
Tomorrow's game against the Kraken.
Even better. Tomorrow's game. We have a pair.
Yep.
Pair of tickets to give away. It'll be about 4:15. So keep it tuned right here. And as always, keep your fingers ready to dial those the number to call.
And if you don't win at 4:15, we're also going to give away a pair during the numbers game today as well.
Look at that.
So 2 chances today to win a pair of tickets to see Canes Kraken at Club Lenovo.
Hopefully see them get back on track. But that's a conversation for later in the show, because right now, Panthers lost in overtime over the weekend. It is football at 4, by the way. That's really what's right now. And we need to have some serious conversations about Bryce Young. Because Bryce Young is not the same player. He's not the same human that he was in the first 2. He's an alien version of himself from the first 2 games of the year.
Honestly, I think he looks even completely different than he did against the Broncos 4 weeks ago.
And that's a compliment. Getting better. And let's be clear. Let's give credit where it's due. Coaches deserve credit. Dave Canales specifically deserves credit. His teammates deserve credit. I think Andy Dalton specifically deserves credit. I mean, before and after every drive, if they show Bryce Young on the sideline, there's a guy with red hair standing right next to him. And sometimes that's necessary. I think his friends and family deserve credit for playing whatever role they played. But most importantly, I think Bryce Young deserves credit. To weather that storm that he went through, and it was a doozy. The sea was angry that day, my friends. He weathered some storm. To come out on the other side playing better, he deserves credit. He was asked after the game why he's played better the last 2 weeks. This was Bryce's answer.
Getting more comfortable in the system. Coach is doing a great job of calling really good things, installing good things throughout the week, and I trust him. I trust the system, and just sticking to that, and also just the players around me. O-line, everyone up front is doing a great job. The receivers getting open. It's not just me. It's all of us. So I just rely on them, and I'm grateful for that.
I don't know if there's one thing, but I know his confidence is astronomically higher than it was 2-3 months ago. In those first 2 games, and more importantly, in the second game of the year, another drag-out, blowout, not even competitive game where he on 3rd down was freezing in the backfield and taking sacks that pushed them out of field goal range, wasn't stepping into his throws, had the deer in the headlights look on his eyes. His confidence appeared to be at negative 1,000 on a scale of 1 to 10.
Wouldn't throw a pass more than 10 yards downfield.
Yesterday, and I tweeted out the clip. You can go find it. NFL tweeted out the video. I retweeted it. Yesterday, he threw a go-ahead touchdown with 30 seconds left in a divisional game. And as the ball was in the air, before the receiver even caught it, his hand started going up in celebration. He was, I wouldn't say full Steph Curry, like turning away from the shot before it goes in, but there was the hint of that. That is, A, just a very confident move no matter how well you're playing, but B, night and day from where he was. He has proven He has the thing in his personality to overcome adversity and keep belief in yourself through terrible play, terrible situation, and obstacles, which is exceptionally hard to evaluate in the pre-draft process. You don't know how players are going to react to adversity, and I thought he failed his first couple, like, hey, here's some adversity, let's see how you deal with it tests. But it doesn't matter if you fail him immediately if you come around eventually, and he has. He has proven that he has the thing in his brain and his personality and his mental makeup to overcome adversity and keep belief. But I do want to say this. He still might fail. He still might fail. And it will be because of his physical and cognitive ability to play football, which I think is really all you can ask for as a player, right? If your career ends and it's because you weren't good enough, I think you can still put your head on the pillow at night, right? There's less regret. If your career ends and you feel like it's because you didn't get a shot, an injury, or you reacted poorly to something that was out of your control, those are the ones that haunt you. He still might fail, but it'll be because I haven't seen quite exceptional pop on the throws, right? I still think at times he's not quite in rhythm with the offense. Like, those are legitimate reasons why quarterbacks sometimes don't work out. It won't be because he was broken mentally, and that's, I think, like, comforting.
Mm-hmm.
That's and even for the evaluators. Right? Like, if you had him as your number one quarterback coming out of the draft, now you get to find out if you were right. Because, let's look at it from our perspective or your perspective, the listener. We don't get to sit down with this guy over 6 hours and get him in front of the whiteboard, and we don't get to talk to his middle school geometry teacher to see, what kind of person he is. We don't get to do all of that. But what we do have the opportunity to do is watch the film, look at him play football, and think if that will translate to the NFL or not. Think if that Heisman production, that elite production at Alabama, will translate to the NFL or not. So if he goes to the NFL, and we still think he has the physical ability, but he deals with some adversity early and goes in the tank, we don't know if we were accurate, right? We don't know if the physical ability was going to translate because, he went in the tank. Now we get to see if he has it, if the accuracy is enough to make up for the physical deficiencies, if the cognitive processing, how quickly he can diagnose a play, can make up for the fact that he's 5'10" and an eighth. Now we get to see that, and that's all you can ask for.
There are a couple moments yesterday, stuff that doesn't show up in a stat sheet, but I remember I can't remember which, I think it was in the third quarter, maybe in the fourth quarter. He checked at the line of scrimmage, and Jonathan Brooks was lined up behind him in a pistol, and he's like, hey, stand right here to my right. Come up here. And sure enough, it was like to set up. He saw a blitz was coming. Brooks picks up the blitz, and then he ends up, I think, maybe hitting Tommy Tremble on a pass. But it was a little thing like that. It's like you saw him like, hey, right here. I need you right here. Pick up this guy. And sure enough, that's what happened. And like, that stuff doesn't show up on a stat sheet. But it's little things like that that I don't think he was doing early on this season.
That's one. It's actually, there's like both ends of this spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things he's doing better is the stuff that is, like you said, pre-snap.
Yeah.
It's the stuff that you actually get, 6 seconds to think about. The other thing that he's doing better is the absolute split-second instinct decisions. He threw a couple away just over the head of a running back standing by the sideline where he's looking downfield, color of the other jersey flashes in front of his eyes. He's about to take a hit, and with absolutely no hesitation, snap the ball out of bounds over a eligible receiver's head, so you don't have to worry about getting intentional grounding, and you don't have to worry about interceptions because it went over the head out of bounds. And I thought he wasn't throwing to open receivers that quickly when his confidence was shot. Now he knows I have, say, Chuba Hubbard on the sideline here, and if something terrible happens, I can snap it over his head by 6 yards and escape and live to fight another day, and he doesn't have to think of that. That's just instinctual. So it's let's not pretend like he never made a good play ever in like all of last season. When the play is open, he can make the throw, right? When it's a 3-step drop and it's 1, 2, 3, bounce, bounce, throw, which happens very rarely in the NFL, but he could always make those plays. He's getting better at the mental side, what you're talking about, the decision-making that can take maybe the defense would have upended my nice rhythm here, but I can bring the running back in, or I can slide the protection and allow myself to have that time. Or if I miss that, right, if somebody else misses their assignment, I can hit this quickly, save it, and live to fight another day, which is just an unbelievably underrated part of being a quarterback, is taking a potential disaster and turning it into a gain of nothing. And it doesn't look like anything. It looks like an incompletion on the stat sheet, but it might be the most important play on the entire field.
I think, to me, his best throw yesterday, he scrambled out of the pocket. If I remember correctly, it was in the second quarter. Scrambled out of his pocket to the right, and Tommy Tremble breaks up field down the right sideline. And on the run, throws a rope. And then I think Tremble picked up 30-plus yards on the play. It was something like that. I was like, okay, that was extend the play, keeping your eyes downfield, and just making a heck of a throw. Like, to me, that was one of his best throws I thought he made all yesterday. And he made some really, really good ones.
Ironically, I think his best throw was the deep out on the far hash to David Moore right on the sideline, and he dropped it.
Yeah, that was a good one too.
He has not been helped a ton by his receivers. Adam Thielen has helped him a ton.
Yeah.
His receivers have not helped him a ton over the last 4 or 5 games, actually, if you really think about it.
Yeah, Lee Gett, we might have to have some questions here, man. Like, hey, I've had a lot of these dropsies this season.
And you hope it's going to get better. He also has done pretty well in contested catches, although he didn't yesterday.
Yeah.
So might be a focus thing. It might just be he hasn't been peppered with a ton of passes in the last 5-6 years outside of his senior year at South Carolina, and he's just got to get back into that rhythm of being often targeted. But it's all good for Bryce Young over the last four weeks. The arrow is pointed up. There are still question marks for sure. Nothing is a guarantee. But the distance between what he was and what he is, I mean, you need a camel and a pack of food to hike that long across that desert. It is going to be a very, very long journey. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, we have our ladder challenge. We have our podium. We have some coaching news across the state of North Carolina. A lot happened over the weekend and even as recently as today. Stick around.
Keep pounding. Panther Talk. Panthers Playbook. The Paw Print. Follow your Carolina Panthers all season with us.
Tampa brings 4. Young backpedals, steps up. He'll run for it. He's got the 10. Near side 5. 2 at the pylon. Touchdown, Bryce Young.
Your home for complete Carolina Panthers coverage. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Fruitcake! You shouldn't have. Wow, a candle.
Spread joy, not junk, with the Autobell Car Wash Holiday Sale. Visit Autobell to buy 1 Super Poly Process Wash and get 1 40% off.
Upgrade your home with Baker Home Exteriors and take advantage of our financing options. We offer 0% interest for 12 months, same as cash financing. Our financing plans also cover siding and window replacements, making those big projects more manageable. Don't just imagine how your home could look. Use our interactive visualizer tool at bakerroofing.com to see your home's potential and get started on a worry-free home upgrade experience.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus only. Terms and conditions apply.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-6161. That's 800-838-6161.
6161. 800-838-6161.
At the Home Depot, we know Saturdays are for college football. That's why we have everything you need to never miss a play. Like North America's #1 home fire safety brand, Kidda. Because on a day full of football sounds you love, like fight songs, roaring crowds, and your favorite commentators.
Like me, Kirk Herbstreit.
The last sound you want to hear is... Defend your game time with Kidda and the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Based on total household installations as of December 2023.
Oh no, my phone.
Hear that? It's the sound of a skater dropping her phone and smashing it on the ice. Yep, it's definitely broken. But at Verizon, we got you. This Black Friday, trade in any phone, any condition from one of our top brands and get a new Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus on Unlimited Ultimate and Watch 7 and Tab S9 FE 5G. That's up to $1,900 in value. So you'll save big on 3 great gifts. Hurry into Verizon this Black Friday. Service plan required for watch and tablet. Up to $1,900 value based on phone, watch, and tablet. Trade in and additional terms apply. See Verizon.com for details.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Needless to say, although I'll say it here just because we're big on accountability, I did not win the November ladder challenge between Dennis and I because he took his $10 and darn near multiplied it by 8. Walked away with, what, $78 and change?
$78.
Which is kind of what we're going for here. The goal of the ladder challenge is to simply take a very likely to win bet and win it every single day for a month, every single show for a month. And if you do that by way of compound interest, because we're rolling over our winnings every day, you'll have a whole bunch of money. And Dennis basically did that for like 3/4 of a month. The only thing that kept him maybe from having even more money is with holidays and things, we didn't have as many shows as we usually have in a month. Or maybe that's also what saved him from not going busto. I finished with, I believe, $14 on my last one.
Hey,
so
you're on the plus.
There we go. He finished with 78.
Yeah, I did. I'm not going to lie. I did not expect that to happen.
Now, the way we set this up is each month we start anew. Are you starting anew, or are you going to try to see it through? Are you going to roll it over?
That's a really good question. I was debating this, and I was thinking, you know what? Let's see how long this thing goes. I'm putting the 78, going all in on this, Tim.
All right.
Going all in on this.
Do you have an exit goal? Do you have, if I hit 100, if I hit 150, if I hit 200, I'm out? Do you have an exit goal, or is this truly just let it ride until you lose it? Which at that point it's like paper billionaires where like they have an IPO and they're worth $1.4 billion, and then 4 years later the company's bankrupt and they're worth scratch.
I think I'm just going to let this thing run.
All right.
I'm just going to let it run, see how long it goes. Maybe if I do get to 150, maybe I'll reset. I don't know, but I just kind of want to see how far that I can take this thing.
Well, in that case, I'll start over to start December, but you as the defending champ get to go first. So have at it. What are you betting on?
All right. NHL.
Let me guess. 2+ shots on goal?
Yep, for William Nylander of the Toronto Maple Leafs. They're playing the Chicago Blackhawks.
Kucherov.
Yeah, well, Kucherov, he's been...
I say at least not. It's worked for you. I don't know why I would hate on that, but it does seem like that's your ultimate go-to.
It has worked out quite well. But I'm going to take William Nylander of the Toronto Maple Leafs, 2+ shots on goal. He's averaging about 3.5 shots on goal per game, and they're playing the Chicago Blackhawks. Blackhawks kind of stink. And also the Leafs are at home. So give me that one in an original 6 matchup. That would $78 will win me $88.40.
I was at a wedding in Chicago not long ago, and I passed by some stores with Blackhawks gear. Let's just say they're all in on Bedard.
Yep.
And all in on Bedard.
All in on Bedard.
A lot of Bedard gear.
A lot of Connor Bedard.
I'm looking at Monday Night Football tonight for my ladder challenge bet, minus 720. It is very simple. I've teased the total, the over-under, down to 30 points. Over 30 points. I'm fascinated by this. Monday Night Football this year.
Who's playing tonight again?
It is Browns and Broncos.
Browns and Broncos.
I'm fascinated. This season, Monday Night Football averages about 5 more points scored than the a regular all of the NFL games combined. 50.3 total points scored on Monday Night Football games on average. NFL average this year is 45.5. So it's just a bit under 5 more points scored on Monday night than in other games. So I'm going to try to use that to my advantage and say, even if the Broncos defense is good, maybe that means famous Jameis is throwing pick sixes. Like, I just think I don't know if it's more sloppy. I don't know if it's better executed. I don't know if teams get up for the prime time of it all, but I'm going to try to lean on that. And if it hits, my $10 will turn into $11.38, and I will start the hot streak of December. So that is the ladder challenge. If you're tailing our bets, I would suggest Dennis. Let's go ahead and jump into the podium.
Well, actually, before we do that, we have some tickets to give away.
Oh, you are completely right. I almost forgot. Heister Automotive Group hotline will open it up for caller number 9. The number to call is 919-860-5326. We are giving away a pair of tickets to caller number 9. The tickets are good for tomorrow's Canes-Kraken game. Seattle will be in town in the Lenny, in the Lenovo Center, and if you and a friend, you and a family member, you and whoever you want to bring want to check out the game, you have to be caller number 9 right now at 919-860-5326. Canes tickets going to caller number 9 at 919-860-5326. Now let's get to the podium. The way the podium works, we do it every single Monday. We're looking at the 4 ACC schools from the state of North Carolina. One will be off the podium because not everybody gets a trophy here on the drive. One will be bronze medalist, one will be silver medalist, and one will be gold. Important to remember, this is a 1-week award. It is not cumulative. So this is not all football season. This is not all basketball season. It is the last week since the last time we did this a week ago. It is the podium, and it is a hybrid combined of football and men's basketball. Off the podium, the Tar Heels, UNC. Not only did they lose to NC State 35-30 in their rivalry football game, they needed a crazy comeback to beat Dayton in the Maui Invitational for men's basketball, 92-90, and then they went over the rest of the tournament. Lost to number 4 in the country, Auburn, 85-72, and then lost to Michigan State by 3 in overtime to round out their Maui Invitational. We'll start with the basketball. Those aren't horrendous losses. You lose to number 4 in the country. It was competitive-ish. And then you lose to a blue blood, if you will, like Michigan State in overtime. They're not awful losses, but at some point, UNC is going to have to start winning those, right? They're not the youngest team in the country. I'm actually interested to see if some of you agree with this, and you can agree or disagree with me on Twitter maybe, at Donnelly Sports. At times, I feel like UNC is standing around waiting for RJ Davis. Like UNC men's basketball is looking around going, RJ, come on, man. Game's starting to get out of hand. We're falling behind here, man. When in actuality, the Elliot Cadeaus, the Seth Trimble, I wouldn't put in the same category. But even some of the freshmen or some of the new guys, the Van Allen Lubins or the big guys, Washington and Withers, like you're capable of being the spark that turns everything around yourself. It just seems like occasionally they're like, we have this RJ Davis. You know, I was trying to think of the right example here, and the best I could come up with is sometimes it seems like the Ravens do this, where the Ravens just sit around and go, when's Lamar going to do the superhero thing? When is he going to scramble around for 25 seconds and hit somebody wide open 60 yards downfield? When is he going to do the thing? When it's like, now Mark Andrews, Derrick Henry, some of the defensive players you have, like you're good enough to Matabuke, you're good enough to make those plays on your own to turn the tide. And then not only did football lose to NC State, which is always a brutal one, especially when it's 4 straight. So you actually have seniors that will go their entire career without beating NC State, which is brutal. But you had to fire your coach, and you're facing a ton of upheaval. I would expect, like the Omarion Hamptons of the world to not be back, which is a tough deal to replace. So off the podium, UNC definitely wasn't the best week for you, and that's why you're off the podium. Bronze, If you're watching on YouTube on our live stream, by the way, you can already see the podium behind me on our screen. If you're listening on air, stick with me. I'll reveal them as we go along. Wake Forest is bronze. They lost to Duke on a walk-off touchdown. Walk-offs always sting. But, if you're looking at your overall record versus Duke's overall record, there might be a tiny, eensy-weensy little bit of productivity out of kind of making Duke have to walk it off against you when you're 2-6 in the conference and Duke is 5-3 now in the conference and a 9-win team. We're really splitting hairs here down at the bottom of the podium.
Pretty much.
It hasn't been good for quite a few teams. And then men's basketball, you lost to number 18 Florida, which is what it is. 75-58. I would have liked for it to have been closer to call it like a true good loss. And then you beat Minnesota, so you beat a Big Ten team, 57-51. To me, that's the difference. That's the reason why you're above UNC, is because at least you got a non-conference power conference victory. 57-51. I mean, that's darn near Tony Bennett at UVA-ish, but they don't draw pictures on the scorecard. A win is a win. That was enough to bring you up to bronze. It happens at the Olympics where you can tell somebody had like expectations of gold. They get the bronze and they're really kind of bummed by it. I hope Wake Forest is bummed by this bronze. I hope they get the bronze and they're like, yeah, you know what? I'll put it in my safe and hopefully no one asks me to see it. Silver goes to NC State. They beat UNC on the football field. Men's basketball did not help a ton with the silver medal here. They went 0-2, lost to number 13 Purdue, 71-61. Not a bad loss. Purdue's a good team. Rematch of the Final Four. You would have liked to have maybe stuck it to them a little bit, but it's a 10-point loss to a top 15 team. The one that stings a little bit is you lost to BYU by the same difference, 72-61, almost an identical score. Play as well as you did against Purdue. You'd think that would be less. So maybe playing to the level of your competition a little bit if you're just looking at this week, which is always a bummer if you're a coach. But no matter how bad this week was, the potpourri masking the bad smell is you beat UNC in football. And there's always going to be the fans that's all that matters. Here's Dave Doran, the head coach, on beating the Tar Heels for the 4th straight year.
When I got hired, they didn't say win 6 and go to a bowl. They said whatever you do, beat Carolina. And we did that for the 4th year in a row. And that means a lot. To me, it means a lot to our program. There's a reason I haven't been able to wear blue for 12 years. For real. Like, I'm not allowed to wear the color blue, And so this game is deep. And when I said it's the biggest game of the year, it is the biggest game of the year. And our players know that. Our fans know that. Our administration knows that. And it's meaningful, And I don't say that to brag. I'm just saying that because it's a rivalry. It's the oldest rivalry in the ACC. So don't tell me it doesn't mean more. It does. It means a lot to our fan base and definitely to me as the head football coach. To say that I'm 8-4 now in this rivalry means a lot to me.
That's how, by the way, quickly things can change. 8-4 in the rivalry. They're on a 4-game win streak. 4 years ago, he was 4-4 in the rivalry, right? And it was, he didn't have this reputation as the guy that always beats UNC. Now he has that reputation. And we hear, by the way, the calls for Dave Doran to maybe not be the coach anymore when things are going poor for NC State. We get the callers. It's time to move on from Dave. You do have to weigh, at least he beats UNC. If you move on from him, there's no guarantees the next guy will be able to do that. You do have to weigh that. So silver goes to NC State. You win a rivalry game. That's going to be a big feather in your cap. And the gold to me was obvious. It's Duke. It's Duke, which I think they've been gold now for a handful of weeks in a row.
Might be 3 weeks in a row.
Football beat Wake Forest on a walk-off to make them 9 wins with a potential 10th.
State champs.
State champs on the football field. By the way, they've been cranking out like 8-9 win seasons now for 3 straight years. Mm-hmm. It feels disjointed because there was the Elko, then the Diaz, but you're winning 8 or 9 games every year. You're starting to set yourself a new floor. It's going to get to the point, you keep doing this, where Duke fans expect 8 or 9 wins and they hope for 10 or 11. Who would have thought that a couple years ago? Basketball did lose to number 1 in the country, Kansas, during this kind of evaluation period by 3. And once again,
heck of a game.
The freshmen mishandled the final moments, which you just hope, if you're a Duke fan, they're learning. Be more decisive. Don't leave your feet without a plan. Don't feel like you need to dribble 100 times before making your move. Young guys can learn that, and you hope they are. It's part of what comes with jumping up a level. You're no longer just so talented that you can do whatever you want at the end of a game and get the shot you want. You have to have an idea, have a plan, and have a backup plan, and have an outlet. And then Duke's defense showed up against Seattle University later in the week. They won 70-48. They're going to be able to, the overmatched teams, they're just going to be able to smother them with size and instinct on defense. So mostly on the back of a 9-win football season, but also on the backs of not really having a bad loss or a frustrating, too much of a frustrating loss on the basketball court. Duke ends up gold. And you know what I'm going to quote, because I already know there's somebody on Twitter whose name is like literally No Duke, accuses me of being a homer for Duke. I'm going to quote the caller from earlier talking about the flag planting. If you don't want it to happen, don't lose. If you don't want me to pick Duke at the top, be better than Duke. We've got reasons for why Duke has been at the top. And by the way, they go stretches where they're never at the top of the podium. So true. I think it's earned. I think it's earned.
Yeah, there are wins in the win column, or markers in the win column.
They won the game. They have the 9-win football season. Their only loss in the basketball court was by 3 to the number 1 team in the country. Everyone else on the list has a worse loss than that. What do you want me to do about it? The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That is the podium. If you think we got it right, you think we got it wrong, let us know. You can be on the YouTube comments on our live stream, which is up for every single show we do here, but you can also get it to us however you see fit, right? Social media, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. 99.9 The Fan for the station. Donnelly Sports for me. The Fan Rookie for Dennis. Little bit of breaking news from earlier today. Breaking news from our region, if not in the Triangle. Our state for sure. Sean Clark, head coach of App State, not the head coach of App State football any longer. The school deciding to part ways, fire Appalachian State, which, you want to talk about raising expectations? App State has high expectations now. They are, I don't know why I said now. They are a school that prides themselves on their football program. And if you start dipping below those expectations for too many seasons in a row or too many seasons out of the last 3, it's going to be hard to keep your job. He took over as a full-time guy, 2020? Went 9 wins, 10 wins. Then it started to become a little bit more of a drag. Bowl eligible this year, not bowl eligible for the first time, and ends up losing his job. Finishes with a 40-24 record. That, to me, shows you what App State is expecting. They're not a group of 5 team that's like, hey, as long as you provide us a few highlights, a few upsets every year or two that we can put on, our commercials, you're good. No, they want to win consistently. They want to be competing for the college football playoff, because there is that spot that goes to the highest-ranked group of 5 team, which looks like Boise will be getting. Sean Clark is no longer there, and now App State gets to put their production where their mouth is. And what I mean by that is you get to prove that your program is better than what Sean Clark was putting on the field. Go get a coach that's going to be more productive, and this looks like a great move.
This is a program who should be competing consistently year in and year out to win the Sun Belt.
Yes.
They should be consistently year in and year out competing for a Sun Belt title.
And the Sun Belt is a good enough group of 5 conference that your champion should be near the top of the highest ranked group of 5 team year in and year out. Not every year. Sometimes, a 2 or 3 loss team is going to win. But if you're a 1-loss Sun Belt champion or a 2-loss Sun Belt champion, you should be near the top of all group of 5 teams in the country. So thus, if App State is competing to be the Sun Belt champion every year, that would mean every year they're competing to be one of the top-ranked group of 5 teams, which would be competing to be a college football playoff team. And that's how I believe you truly level up your standing nationally is make more than a couple college football playoffs from the group of 5.
And this is one of the best group of 5 jobs out there, in my opinion, because you have the brand recognition. A lot of people, you just go around the country, oh, yeah, App State, I've heard of them. I know that name. I recognize
least the
that
Michigan
logo.
upset, yeah.
Well, there's that, but I think even when College Game Day went there a couple years ago, I think it brought even more notoriety to the school. But it's not only that, but it's also, like you mentioned, you have the opportunity to go win a Sun Belt, but there's a rich history of football, and great football at App State. Even go back to when Scott Satterfield was the head coach not that long ago. I mean, obviously, all the FCS championships that they won as well.
One of them against Delaware, but hey.
You know what?
Joe Flacco.
The better team wins. But here's the thing. You have that history. You have that brand recognition. There's no reason why App State should not be, in the Sun Belt, a 10-win team. Every year. Yeah, okay, you might lose one because you might lose to your rival in Georgia Southern or something like that. But still, that should be a 10-win team consistently year in and year out. And if you look over the last few years with Sean Clark, just a couple of years ago, 6-6. I know they went to the Cure Bowl last year. They won the Cure Bowl, had 9 wins overall. But then this year, 5-6. I know they didn't have the game against Liberty because of Helene, but even if you win that, you're still back at 500. I think this program expects so much more, and it's understandable.
Actions speak louder than words. A lot of programs say, we expect to be competing for a conference championship every year, and our coaches know we expect double-digit wins, but then they might keep a coach that's won 6 or 7 games last 3 years, and they're like, you know what, he runs a good program. App State is, we expect to compete for conference championships. We expect to be competing for double-digit wins. And moving on from a guy that hasn't done that for 3 years is your actions backing up what you say about your program as a whole. Almost said franchise, which college sports are starting to feel that way.
They might as well be. I mean, Andrew Luck is hired as the GM of Stanford football. But you mentioned it in terms of, every group of 5, we should be winning double digits, competing for a conference championship. App State's done that and has done that on a consistent basis, competed for those conference championships. And, the standard, I think, is just so high there. It is also amazing how 4 of the 7 FBS schools here in the state of North Carolina are changing over head coaches now. ECU has changed over their head coach. Mike Houston got fired midseason. Biff Poggi got fired midseason in Charlotte. Now App State, Sean Clark is being let go. And we also know that Mack Brown's being moving on from at UNC. That's 4 of 7. FBS schools here in the state of North Carolina changing over their head coach.
Can I rant on Mack Brown for 3 minutes?
I mean, you absolutely.
Do we have the audio of him saying this isn't the job I signed up for? This isn't the sport I signed up, the game I signed up for. You know what? Before I misquote him by just saying the same quote 4 different ways, let's hear it straight from Mack Brown. This was Mack Brown after the loss to NC State, talking about obviously him moving on and why now is a good time for him to be out of the game.
I agree with the administration that we need a change of leadership at the top. I just wanted it to happen after the season was over. These poor kids have had so much turmoil in their lives, and I think the administration's into finding a football coach, and I'm into saving lives. And making sure that they're healthy, making sure that they're mentally healthy. And when you have a 4-game losing streak, that's hard for kids. They're not used to that, especially here. We hadn't had that happen. And then especially with a sick young guy. So you got a 4-game losing streak, and then you lose one of your best friends that you've watched die at 23 years old. So I wasn't thinking about me. I wasn't thinking about my future. I was thinking about what's best for these young people.
Now, that is all legit, and I would never rant against that. There was a moment in that same press conference, however, when he referenced, and the exact quote was, I have it here in front of me, "This isn't the game that I signed up for." And that is something that is starting to really rub me the wrong way, because we've seen it so many times, specifically in the ACC, right? So many of the old guard, if you will, basketball, football, whatever, leaving and saying, like the NIL, the transfer portal, this isn't the game that I signed up for. I'm tired of that for this reason. Coaches, and a lot of these guys for like 40, 50 years, told players, control what you can control, adapt. You can't spend 50 years telling kids to adapt and learn and grow and then bail and blame it on the game changing. Like, oh, the game is getting worse and I'm out. Coaches that leave after decades of coaching, here's my advice to you. Say you're too tired and too set in your ways to adapt with a changing game. Don't say it's oh, the game is bad and I'm out now, or, oh, that's not what I signed up for. Just say, I don't have it in me to change. I'm tired. Don't blame the game. And by the way, Mack Brown invented the junior day. It's one of my favorite facts about Mack Brown. He invented the one-day junior and high school camp where you give a ton of offers and you hope to get commitments from those offers that day. It was something that only Texas did in the early 2000s, and they went wild. They'd offer 30 guys, they'd get 29 commits. It became unreal. But it was also the start of offers coming earlier and earlier and earlier, and eventually 8th graders are getting offers. You did that. Like, you started that. You got that ball rolling. You made the game worse, but you were younger then and more up to the challenge to adapt and more up to move with the changing times. If you're not, that's fine. I look around and I go, you saying that gives all these negative people the ability to say, this isn't the college football I signed up with. Meanwhile, they sit down and watch on Saturday and nothing's changed. Well, what are you complaining about? Because Mack Brown said he wanted to leave because this isn't the game he signed up for? Mack Brown was signing up to stay like a week ago, saying he planned on coaching next year. Now he's saying, well, actually, it's a good time to leave. This isn't the game I signed up for. Just say the game is changing and you weren't flexible enough to move with it. And that goes for every old-time coach that leaves and starts shouting out clouds. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. As promised earlier, we have to talk about this Canes goalie situation this weekend. Not the best showing, but also not necessarily the goalie's fault. You'll hear me break that down coming up next.
This is Gordon Miller from Miller Lending in Cary. Way back in the mid to late 80s, rates were all over the map, much as they are today. And what bothered me the most was seeing homeowners constantly chasing lower rates by paying upwards of $15,000 in closing costs each time. There had to be a better way, considering no one was keeping their new loan long enough to truly benefit. So it was during that time that Miller Lending discovered a way to offer a true no-closing cost loan. With nothing charged or rolled in, customers were now able to realize immediate savings, as even a drop of 0.5% could save them thousands of dollars over the life of a new loan. Imagine eliminating the need for timing as you simply close on today's rates and refinance as soon as something better comes along. Fact is, Miller Lending hates closing costs. So before you throw away thousands of dollars chasing a rate you may not like a year from now, pick up the phone and call Miller Lending today. 919-447-3377, or simply apply online at millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender and MLS number 250-2146.
It's bow time. 'Tis the season for food and family, but thanks to Bojangles, you don't have to spend hours in the kitchen when loved ones come home for the holidays. Set down the spatula and put away the mixing bowls, because this holiday season, Bojangles is ready to help you celebrate with all your family favorites like Chicken Supreme, Cajun Filet Biscuits, or a big bow box of hand-breaded chicken, scratch-made biscuits, and fixins for the whole family. We'll make the food so you can focus on making memories. Head to Bojangles and gift yourself a taste of home. It's bow time.
If it's ho-ho-ho time, it's Bo-Bo-Bo time. Time to order a party-sized platter of that bodacious Bojangles flavor before your next holiday celebration. Choose a Bojangles Supremes platter and get 50 whole breast tenderloin fillets. Or go with a Bojangles dessert platter and get 2 dozen Bo-Berry biscuits, 2 dozen cinnamon twists, or 1 dozen of each. It's a platter full of Bo-liciousness. And don't forget to pick up Bojangles gift cards. Just the right gift for anyone on your list. Hurry, it's Bo time.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hard-working partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Did you know that Bailey's Fine Jewelry has something for everybody and every budget? Sure, we're known for luxury designers, fine diamonds, and watches, but we also have a huge selection of jewelry and gifts under $500. We're celebrating making holiday gifting easy since 1948. You can shop online at baileybox.com, or we invite you to visit one of our locations in Raleigh, Cary, Rocky Mount, and Greenville to see why every woman wants a Bailey box under the tree.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling, we do the job right every time.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling is celebrating 51 years of trusted service. And to celebrate, get a furnace tune-up for just $51. That's peace of mind heating for only $51. Visit MitchellHVAC.com. Mitchell Heating and Cooling. Quality products and services on time from a family you trust. It's hard to stop a train.
The best solutions every time.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
Back in for Reinhardt. To Kachuk, looking for Barkov, and he taps it home. Another pretty power play passing by the Florida Panthers that results in a goal, and it's 4-0 Florida.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Some interesting comments coming in on our YouTube about who App State might look at for their next head coach. We just talked about Sean Clark getting the heave-ho from the head coaching position. Neil Brown just got the heave-ho from West Virginia, but has had some success in that conference in the Sun Belt. So perhaps he gets a call. Wouldn't be surprised. I don't think you said Scott Satterfield is one of them being mentioned.
Yeah, someone said that they want Scott Satterfield to come back, which makes sense. They had a ton of success in the 5 years that Satterfield was there. He's at Cincinnati now, which is part of the Big 12.
I think he'd have to suddenly be real cool, taking way less money. I think since he ponied up there to get him, but that's just kind of what I remember about him taking that job.
And Neil Brown was at Troy for a long time.
Yes,
he was
at Troy. As both a position coach, coordinator, and then as head coach. So he knows the lay of the land in the Sun Belt. Although the Sun Belt is changing kind of every week as well, or every year as well. But good options. I think App State is desirable for
for sure.
that level of football. I think they're desirable. So I wouldn't be surprised if they have many good options. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have to talk Canes goalie. We have to do it. Spencer Martin was in goal for back-to-back games, back-to-back days. That's tough on a goalie.
4 games in 6 days?
You do not see that happening very often in the NHL. But that's not why I'm saying some of the struggling goal play that we've seen. When I say it's not Spencer Martin's fault, I'm not saying because he should be tired. Heck, adrenaline carry you through the game. It's not Spencer Martin's fault that he is struggling as the every-game goaltender for the Carolina Hurricanes, because he is not supposed to be the every-game goaltender for the Carolina Hurricanes. It's crazy. The more and more I talk and cover hockey, and this is my first time, meaning the last 2 years, has been my first time covering an NHL team daily, the more and more similarities I see between quarterback and goalie. You have to have the amnesia of a bad game. You are out there with a lot of weight on your shoulders while everyone else on a given game might rotate in and out. You're the one out there playing darn near every single snap, right? Running backs can be like, I'm a third down back, right? You'd be like, I'm mostly a special teamer. Goalies out there. Now, I don't play every game in the NHL, but on your days, you're the quarterback. And I'm kind of workshopping this. One of my favorite analogies for quarterback is your backup quarterback is the tiny little donut tire that you keep under your trunk for when you get a flat, right? You put the tire on when you get a flat tire, and you're not supposed to drive cross-country in it. You're supposed to drive to the auto body shop. That's what a backup quarterback is. You got to use them for 3 games? Cool. If you expect to use them for 3 months, it's not going to work out well. Your third goaltender is that. Your third goalie is the donut tire. And guess what? The Canes have been driving on it for like a month. They've been going to work in it every day. They drove home for the holidays. They put a lot of mileage over the last week on their donut. That's not the intended purpose. Spencer Martin was never supposed to be in there for 3 out of 4 games, let alone 4 games in 6 days. The question isn't what is going on with Spencer Martin. The question is, how did the Canes get to a point where they're dependent this much on Spencer Martin, and how do they make sure they don't get here again? Now, part of it is out of your control. Injuries, right? Pyotr Kochetkov has been mostly durable, and he's had a couple of kind of unfortunate injuries, getting run into by your own guy and all of these other things. Part of it is you chose to depend on an injury-prone player in Freddie Anderson. If somebody has missed a decent amount of time in each of the last 2, 3, 4 seasons, whatever it's been, I find it hard that you're sitting here going, oh, no, how could we possibly react to this guy missing a decent amount of time? It's one of those things in sports that I have a really hard time explaining. And Dennis, maybe you can do it better than I can. If you've played sports, if you've coached sports, if you're just a fan that has followed sports for a long time, it could be luck, bad luck that is. Some guys are injury prone.
Oh yeah.
Some guys, it's like, maybe they had a nagging ankle injury for 3 years, then the next year they come back and they hurt their shoulder. And I know they're not logically connected, but it's like, no, you're just the guy that gets hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And Freddie Anderson, right? Like the blood clotting issue with then a knee injury, like shoulder. We don't like they might not be connected, but like you're just a guy that misses time.
Yeah. It's always something small. It's like, okay, it's a little tweak of the hamstring. Oh, it's the ankle. And the elbow's kind of going. Like, what? It's just, now it's my finger.
To me, it's different than being like the hamstring guy. If you're a hamstring guy, you're a wide receiver with a hamstring problem, and the hamstring pops up once a year. It's like, that can be explained. Soft tissue injuries never really go away. But if you're somebody that like breaks your ankle, then tears something in your elbow, then breaks a collarbone, I'm going like, I know that logically they aren't connected, but you're just an injury guy. And it's hard for me to just kind of, get people to accept that because logically it's not there. And I like to be a fan of logic and reason. But Freddie Anderson's a guy that misses time. He just is. They don't have to be connected. He's a guy that misses time. So it's hard for me to be like, you didn't have a better plan for if this guy missed time? And again, I'm not knocking Spencer Martin. If Pyotr was healthy and playing most games and you had to spot start Spencer Martin, I don't know if we'd be complaining. But from this point forward, it's on the Canes to have a better plan. And the hard part is this has happened so early in the season that I think sellers haven't even established themselves yet. Right? There's not enough time to be mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, so nobody's really selling off their better than average goaltenders, hoping for picks and prospects. And I'm not even sure the Canes would want to pay that because they're a franchise that doesn't usually do that. I was hoping Pyotr Kochetkov would take a star leap this year. Hasn't happened, at least not yet. For a multitude of reasons. The injury. Sometimes it's hard for a goalie to take a star leap when the blue line is playing almost too good in front of them. It's like they don't have enough chances to stand on their heads. Like, I faced 14 shots last night. I did well, but So there's and his play is also he hasn't been elite at times. He's had some of those crazy Pyotr Kochetkov sees red moments and goes flying out of the goal. There's a little bit of everything contributing, but he hasn't been the star I was hoping he'd be this year. At least not yet. So the Canes now, and this is an Eric Tolsky question. That's the GM. This is a Rod Brindamore, the head coach. This is the scouting department. How do you plan on making sure you don't have to depend on Spencer Martin in the role that he has been playing recently? And Pyotr Kochetkov, we're expecting him back. They did designate Yaniv Peretz back to the AHL, who was the emergency goaltender, or the second goaltender behind Martin over this little stretch. But that's not to say Kochetkov will never get hurt again. It's not to say Spencer Martin, if he goes out there and spot starts, he won't get hurt. The Canes skaters are too darn good to have soft goals keep them from their lofty expectations. If you do only give up a handful of good looks a game, you want the proper percentage of them to be stopped. I'm not asking for a superhero. I don't need the goaltender to be best in the league for the Canes. Is it too much to ask for slightly above average consistently. I think in a lot of ways that's all they need. Right? Martin Necas isn't going anywhere. Aho is back over a point per game. Jarvis is back and playing, which is important coming off the injury. From the blue line, Gostisbehere keeps coming up with points. Orlov is playing lights out recently. Last I checked, he was leading the NHL in plus-minus on the ice, which obviously means Chatfield is near the top in plus-minus on the ice. Roslovic is scoring. Jackson Blake has 7 goals as a rookie. I need to start a Rookie of the Year campaign for that guy. He's not on any of those lists, and he should be. Could you expect more from like Svech and Kokiniemi and I don't know, maybe more point production from guys like Walker? Sure. But the way they're playing right now, I'm just asking you to have a good, solid plan and goal to make sure you're not giving up too many softies, and I think you'll be fine.
The signing of Dustin Tokarski, does that get you excited? The 35-year-old netminder was an NHL journeyman. He's actually been playing with the Chicago Wolves on a professional tryout contract because they just need a goalie in Chicago right now. But they signed him to a contract, just a 1-year deal, 2-way contract, just to be that emergency guy. Mm-hmm. As opposed to Yanni Perret sitting on your bench, they signed this guy who's an NHL vet. Maybe that's the answer. I'm kidding. It's not the answer.
I was just gonna say I'm going back to find the.
We actually have seen a trade actually in the NHL involving goaltenders. Nashville Predators traded their backup goaltender Scott Wedgwood to actually within their division to the Colorado Avalanche along with a 6th-round pick to get the backup goaltender from Colorado. So we've actually already seen a goalie trade happen already. Actually, this happened this past Saturday. So it is something that we have already seen despite only being about 25 games into the season so far. Who knows what the Canes are going to do moving forward? My big question is, it's the health of Freddie. Because I think Coach Chekhov should be your number one going into the playoffs.
I hope so.
But can you rely on Frederik Andersen if something happens to Coach Chekhov? Can you rely on him to be healthy? To be even just available on the bench for you?
I agree. If he is healthy, I think you can depend on him. That's a massive if.
It's a massive if. And it's been an if every year.
And by the way, just the reason why I didn't bring up Tokarski, and I appreciate Dennis for just full scope bringing him up. The last time he played in the NHL was in the 2022-2023 season, and it was 4 games for the Penguins.
Yeah.
You have to go back to the 2021-2022 season for Buffalo when he did appear in 29 games as his last real bit of work.
He's been a journeyman backup, kind of back and forth between the AHL and the NHL type guy. And kind of like Spencer Martin in that regard.
Yeah, exactly. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have the starting 5 coming up next, including the confidence of the Carolina Panthers and how it has grown exponentially. Stick around.
Football is on the menu tonight.
Showtime, prime time.
And we're serving up some fresh AFC action.
Hot dog, man.
It's Cleveland and Denver.
Dominate on 3, 1, 2, 3, dominate.
Pregame starts at 7:30. Kickoff at 8:15.
Put up or shut up time.
The NFL on 99.9 The Fan is brought to you by Wake Med.
Here we go.
99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Monday night, you gotta feel it.
Make holiday magic this year with something beautiful and timeless from Diamonds Direct. A stunning eternity band, a pair of classic diamond stud earrings, something new and eye-catching from a world-class designer, or maybe you're looking for that perfect engagement ring or a fabulous timepiece. At Diamonds Direct, we have the perfect gifts for the season, starting at around $500. Come and let our experts help you pick out that headliner gift. Or for some fabulous ideas, see the online seasonal gift guide now at DiamondsDirect.com. You can even chat now with a virtual assistant for the ultimate convenience. Whether you connect online or in person, you're guaranteed to get the extraordinary value, ironclad warranties, and white glove service Diamonds Direct is known for. And to help make your purchase even more affordable, we've got special financing so you can spread out your payments. Get directions, details, special showroom hours, and our holiday gift guide now at DiamondsDirect.com. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. who's in the know when price is so low. It just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup and delivery available, you'll always find what you love, only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Lowe's knows that to win the job, pros need the best prices. That's why only at Lowe's, MVP's Pro Rewards members can get a volume discount on eligible orders as low as $1,500 at the Pro Desk. That means you get the prices you need to start any job, small or large. Because Lowe's knows pros. Valid in-store only. More terms and restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms or Pro Desk for details.
Hey, bud, why the long face?
Got laid off again, like the third time since the plague.
You should move back in with your parents.
What?
Well, let's go to Sharky's.
Now that's a good idea. Hey, they hiring?
No chance they'd hire you, but Sharky's is my favorite spot, and I just love hanging there.
Sharky's it is. We can discuss a new job over a cold beer and the best wings ever.
He's right, you know. No one's gonna hire you. Move back in with your parents. Sharky's. Quite possibly the best neighborhood bar in the world.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WREL meteorologist Davey Wilmoth, getting ready for a cold night tonight. We'll have partly cloudy skies. Our low drops to 25 and a few flurries possible in our southwestern counties. Another chilly day on the way Tuesday, mostly sunny with a high of 44.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones today at the closing bell down 128 points to 44,782. Market update brought to you by The Good Feet Store. Ready to step into a healthy and active lifestyle? Come to The Good Feet Store and experience the difference. Discover how a simple step can lead to a life of pain-free possibilities.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. A lot happened over the weekend.
Yeah, a few things.
Hopefully everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving, by the way. Said it at the beginning of the show. Want to echo that once again. Wonderful time with family, good food, good sports, good relaxation, and you're ready to dominate the last month of the calendar year, December. Also dominate the starting five, starting with number 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Young out of the shotgun. Hubbard right hip. Bucs rush 4. Bryce in the pocket. Steps up. Eludes the rush. Throws end zone. Caught. Adam Thielen. Touchdown. Carolina. The Panthers take the lead with 30 seconds.
Now, I've said this a million times, but I do want to kind of double and triple and quadruple down on it. I don't believe in moral victories. Okay, so I don't think the Panthers won against the Bucs, but I will say this. Not every win and not every loss are created equal. The Panthers are 3-9, as are the Titans, as are the Jets. New England is 3-10. If you let me choose out of those 4, first I'm choosing New England because I believe they have their quarterback, and that's really gosh darn important in Drake May. But next I'm choosing the Panthers because the Jets and the Titans are a mess. And for as bad as the Panthers have been, and for as messy as they have been at times, they don't appear that way now. And that is confidence-inducing. There are real, tangible pieces of evidence that say the 4 horsemen of their franchise may be in the right position. And with understanding that David Tepper is the one 4 horseman of the franchise that you can't change because he's an owner and you can't fire the owner. Dan Morgan, let's run through it, right? Dan, we'll start with David Tepper. Nothing you can do about it. Is what it is.
What it is.
Then we go to the next horseman of the franchise, Dan Morgan. You know who looks like a really, really good draft evaluator right now? After his first rookie draft, Dan Morgan. Even if you don't think Xavier Legette has lived up to his first-round billing, Jonathan Brooks had some spark in the second round, right? He's only had, 15 touches, but he's had some spark, looks a little explosive. Third round, Trevin Wallace. I really like what I've seen from him going back to preseason. Fourth round, Jatavian Sanders. I think you all know how I feel about that guy if you listen to the show. Big fan. Fifth round, Shaw Smith-Wade. Just got an interception this past week, which helped them win the game, or almost win the game. Get to overtime.
Second on the team in tackles as well.
And didn't really play in a lot of those early games. So he's catching up and passing people in statistics that have more snaps than he does. That's a really good draft. And then you might argue the Michael Barrett ends up being traded for Michael Jackson, the corner, and there's other things that work out. I think he had a very good draft looking at it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Then Dave Canales. Dave Canales was brought in for one reason. Get the quarterback right. His resume said, worked with Russell Wilson, rehab Geno Smith, rehab Baker Mayfield. You bring him in to either rehab Bryce Young or figure out the quarterback position. I have not agreed with his methods at all points in time, but you'd be foolish to say he's not working a number on improving Bryce Young. And then Bryce Young, playing better. Those are what I consider the four horsemen of an NFL franchise. You need the owner, the GM, the head coach, and the quarterback to be aligned, to be on the same page, to trust each other with their lives. You went back 2 months. I was going I don't know, Dave Canales doesn't look like the dude. We know Dave Tepper has his flaws. Bryce Young doesn't look like the dude. Dan Morgan, you had 0.5 out of 4. I think you could argue you have 2.5, 3 out of 4 right now, which is a massive improvement. Adam Thielen on the team confidence. This is a veteran that has been in winning locker rooms talking about the Panthers and his teammates in that locker room.
We're not out here to just have, losses that feel good, right? So at the end of the day, we have a lot of confidence. I felt like the last 3-4 weeks, this team's just felt like we can win this game. The Chiefs come in here, a bunch of wins, not a lot of losses, and hey, we can win this game. I just felt like there was not, it wasn't even word said, it was just it just felt different in this organization, in this building. The week of preparation, it just felt like, hey, we can win these games. We just have to do the right things. And, that makes it more frustrating when you don't come out in the end, when you play good football, it doesn't look sloppy, and you just don't come out with the victory.
Adam Thielen just has to be happy that they're going for it. I have a feeling the 34-year-old wide receiver, the oldest wide receiver in the NFL by 2 years, probably wasn't looking forward to coming back to a tank apocalypse. So he's back and he's playing for a team that's at least competitive in games. Must be fun for him. That's number 5. Let's get to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
Schmidt back up top. Gets a shot through traffic, deflected, they'll score. Another power play goal. Schmidt triggered it, but Rodriguez got a piece.
Oh, how a couple of weeks can change everything. I love in our notes, Dennis and I have a shared doc that we use to plan the show. Number 4 is literally just Canes. Gross. 2 straight losses, 6-3 versus Florida, 6-0 versus Florida on the road in the second half. Gross.
Yeah.
Gross.
By the way, 7 games in 10 days. That's what Saturday was. The 7th game in 10 days.
Gross.
Yeah.
Gross. Ugh.
I skate once a week and I'm dying.
Well, I don't say this disrespectfully. I hope they're in better shape than you are.
Hey, now. I also hope they're in better shape than me. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah, it was not disrespect. I hope they're in better shape than everyone listening to this right now.
Than 38-year-old me. Yeah. Yes.
Although, hey, Brent Burns, something to strive for in a couple years. But if you go back, what was it, half a month? So, a little over 2 weeks. They had a Saturday, Sunday back-to-back. At least one game started by Spencer Martin. They won 4-0. They won 4-1. Now you fast forward, 2.5 weeks. You have a back-to-back, granted, against Florida. They're much better than the opponents faced. You don't want to give up 6 goals in multiple games. Part of it is the goalie. Part of it is they just didn't play well. You know what I think it is? And I don't actually believe in this. Somebody accused me of a jinx over the weekend. It was Eddie Pinheiro, because I talked about how he was the most accurate kicker in NFL history, and then he came out and missed his first 2 kicks for the Panthers. And somebody accused me of the jinx, so I then said at the end of the first half, apologize to those of you that believe in the jinxes and are superstitious, but the Panthers looked good in the first half. So I'm sure they're blaming me for the loss.
Hey, no, I caught heat when I said that, hey, you're allowed to run the ball in overtime, and then Chuba Hubbard fumbled. So there's that.
That's actually kind of funny.
Yep.
I didn't even put that. See, I don't think of it. I don't put it that way. But if you are superstitious, I know who you should blame.
Okay.
It started about 2 weeks ago. I was highlighting the Canes overcoming adversity. And I talked about the Seth Jarvis injury, and I talked about long road trips, and I talked about bad periods that they've played, and they've always bounced back. And there was a host of people telling me, that's not real adversity. Everyone in the NHL faces things like that. Those are just bumps in the road. That's not real adversity. And I feel like the hockey gods were listening. I said, oh, you don't think that's adversity, huh? Oh, you don't? How does it feel having your third goalie play 4 games in 6 days? How's that feel? How does it feel playing one of your most hated rivals in back-to-back home and away games, and you're going to give up 6 goals to each? How does it feel having Rod Brindamore feel like he needs to put Svetch down there on what Rod Brindamore would never call, but we can all assume is the 4th line? How does that? Is that adversity now, huh? Again, I don't believe in that, so I'm not blaming you, but someone out there might. Opportunity against Seattle tomorrow at home to right the ship. If Pyotr Kochetkov is back in net, that's something you can point to and go now Pyotr's back. We can get back to playing good hockey. Gives you that mental separation from the tough stretch you just had. I expect significantly better play from the Canes over the next week.
For those of you wondering, Kochetkov did practice today.
And they reassigned Yaniv Peretz, who has been the backup goaltender, to the AHL. So, actions indicating likelihoods of things moving forward.
According to our good friend Walt Ruff of Hurricanes.com, said Rob Brindamore says that Pyotr Kochetkov has to get through one more test before he is fully cleared, but is hopeful the goaltender will be available tomorrow night versus Seattle.
Aren't we all? That's number 4. Let's get to number 3.
Murphy to throw, looking to the left, nobody open, looks back to the right, fires down the sideline for Jordan Moore. He's got it! It's a touchdown with no time on the clock! The Blue Devils have won!
Walk-off win versus Wake for Duke football to give them 9 wins in the regular season. Bowl game coming, potentially a 10-win team. My hand's in the air. I said I'd be accountable earlier in the year when I said I don't think they're going to win 9 games. I'd be surprised. If they do, I'll put my hand up and say they didn't see it coming. So hands up in the air, did not see it coming. There's me being accountable. When I am so far off on a team, I like to ask myself this. What'd you get wrong? What did I get wrong? I did not think they'd win 9 games. What did you not see coming? I actually think that Wake game is exactly what I didn't see coming. I did not think they'd win games like that one against Wake Forest. Why? Because how do you win? What teams most often win close games? Teams with stability. Teams with veteran leadership, established culture. Teams with quarterbacks that have started a whole bunch of games. Duke didn't necessarily have that. Right? They had a head coach that was getting another try at being a head coach. They had a quarterback that had started a couple of games at Texas, transferring in. They had Aeneas Peoples, all-ACC player, their best maybe returning defensive player, transferring to Virginia Tech. They had Riley Leonard, their best offensive returning player, transferring to Notre Dame. They just didn't have it, so I didn't see it coming. So give Manny Diaz, Malik Murphy, and that crew a ton of credit for putting together the culture, the confidence, the trust that comes usually developed over years. They put it together in like 2 months. That's tough to predict somebody doing that. They did it, and I'm giving them credit, but I think that's what I missed. And I think the Wake Forest game was a perfect example of that. They were down 17-3, and it felt like everybody looked around and went, no, we're still confident in the defense to get these stops we need to get. All the way down to that last play. You just heard the highlight, the walk-off. I don't even know if it's a Hail Mary. It was a 39-yard touchdown pass, but it wasn't just throwing a jump ball into the end zone.
It was one-on-one coverage.
He beat his guy like up the sideline, caught it, and still had to run into the end zone. It was like that right there is confidence. They didn't panic and just throw up a prayer and say, hey, hopefully we get a tipped pass in our direction. They like kind of ran a play. How do you have the confidence in the defense that quickly over one season? How do you have the belief in a quarterback in Malik Murphy to make that throw? I mean, he had less than 200 yards passing up to that point. That's just pure trust, and they put it together quickly. And I think that's why I said earlier this season, like, hey, if they win 9 games, I'll put my hand up and say I didn't see it coming, because that would mean they've done something that is pretty darn rare. So now I put my hand up and say, hey, didn't see that coming.
I know tomorrow we'll do our ACC awards.
Mm-hmm.
I know he probably won't win Coach of the Year, but Manny Diaz definitely deserves a lot of recognition. We actually had a caller mention that earlier during our Monday Soundoff earlier this afternoon. But that is something, if it wasn't for Rhett Lashley, I'd say either him or Brent Key down there in Georgia Tech.
100%. Manny Diaz, it's more than like, also receiving votes. It's like he should receive votes at Coach of the Year in the ACC. Yeah. You're right. Lashley, it's hard to argue against. He should probably win.
Yeah, he should.
Or SMU's head coach. But Manny Diaz deserves maybe a little contract extension. I don't know. You don't want him to put together 2 good years and bounce. So do what you can to keep him. Was that too soon? Was that too similar? Was that like? Did you hear what happened there? That's number 3. Let's get to number 2.
Just the two of us. The shovel pass to Hampton. Wide open. 30, 20, 10. Touchdown Tar Heels.
UNC lost to NC State. Turn the page. Does it sting? Yes. Does it hurt that you lost to a rival? Yes. Do you wish you won one of the last 4 for the seniors against your rival? Yes. I said it last week before the game. The most important decision, perhaps in UNC athletics history, is who you hire as the head coach of the football team, because you're entering into an unprecedented era of college sports, unprecedented change, and it's never been more important to be good at football. Basketball is great. For whatever reason in the sports world, football is what's pushing the needle right now. You better be good. This next hire is wildly important. I scoured the internet for names, potential head coaches for UNC. Georgia's defensive coordinator, Glenn Schumann. JMU head coach, Bob Chesney, if you can hire him away. John Summerall, Tulane's head coach. Liberty head coach, Jamie Chadwell. UNLV head coach, Barry Odom. Notre Dame defensive coordinator, Al Golden, former Miami head coach. Former Florida head coach, Dan Mullen. I could list a whole bunch. Former Arizona Cardinals head coach, Steve Wilkes, is one I would keep a particular eye on. Jeff Saturday, Greg Olson. I mean, they're crazy, but make the call. Cliff Kingsbury. Jason Garrett. Like, I'm throwing names out, right? You may say, like, oh, I don't love their coaching style. Do you know what I think Deion Sanders is proving? I think more than a couple coaches across college are proving. The head coach is becoming more and more celebrity. It's becoming more and more about drumming up buzz in your program. It's becoming more and more CEO, and the coordinators are doing the coaching. That's just what it seems, okay? And by the way, I'm not saying Deion Sanders isn't doing coaching. I mean, trust me, if that guy wants to talk defensive football, it's Deion gosh darn Sanders. I'm sure he knows more than many of us will ever – he's forgotten more than many of us will ever know about defensive football and offensive football. He's done them both. But he is so much more than that to Colorado, and I believe he empowers his assistants to coach. I wouldn't be afraid if I'm North Carolina going to somebody I like, somebody who has work ethic and represents the values that I want. They bring a little fame, maybe not the most coaching experience, but they have connections in the sport to get great assistants and great coordinators. I wouldn't shy away from that with the era we're going into where fundraising is so important. Anyone that's ever been around anyone famous, you know people act different, right? You walk into a booster meeting, or you walk into, hey, we're going to ask for NIL money or a company or any of that, and you have somebody that's famous, it's going to be more likely you get the result you're looking for. I don't know why I watched this. There was a documentary on Perlman was his last name. He's the guy that put together like the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. And literally, Backstreet Boys and NSYNC were put together just so he had sizzle when conning people out of millions and millions and millions of dollars. He would have these meetings where he was getting people to invest in his company. And as soon as they started like asking questions about like, how do you get these returns? Because it was a Ponzi scheme. He would be like, Justin Timberlake, sing. And they would just be like, come in, bye. People will give money when there's famous people around just because they want to be a part of the crew. They want to be cool. If Greg Olson does that, if Cliff Kingsbury does that, I'd consider it.
So they need to hire a con man, is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying they need to hire NSYNC. Justin Timberlake is the one you want to hire. Ron Perlman was just taking advantage of the phenomena. If you can find the football version of a boy band, which, hey, if I gave you 10 guesses on who the football version of a boy band is, Cliff Kingsbury's got to be in the top 3 guesses. Just throwing that out there.
Mm-hmm.
That's number 2. Let's get to number 1.
Go 1! 3 receivers right, 1 to the left for Bailey, takes the snap, left hashes, airs it out, once the end zone, Concepcion, touchdown!
NC State won the game against UNC. We're looking at the same game from the other angle for number 1. This is the challenge for NC State fans. Don't get distracted by the win. The win is great. Talk trash to your UNC friends, right? If you wear red every single day to work and there's somebody that wears Carolina blue and you guys share a hallway, walk down that office, strut into their office and talk your trash. But also understand that is lipstick on a pig. That is a win at the end of the year of an ugly season. Don't forget why it was an ugly season.
It was a win to salvage somewhat of something of your season.
It was to make it not 100% a disaster, but it's still like, 80% a disaster. You showed fight. You showed grit. I like what C.J. Bailey did. I think C.J. Bailey, if he sticks around with the transfer portal, you got to throw the if out there. If he sticks around, it becomes a building block for your future. I think Hollywood Smothers becomes a building block for your future. But the defense has to be able to stop the run, and without Peyton Wilson in the middle, Tony Gibson, who I still think is a really creative defensive mind. I mean, the guy threw a corner blitz with like 6 seconds left in a game. You were up 6. Like it was. There's a fine line between you are an aggressive coach and like you're crazy, dude, and he's flirting with it. There are things that need to be answered. Your offensive coaching staff, I don't know if it's changing the people, but you have to change the philosophy because the offense wasn't creative enough and it didn't take advantage of your talent enough. You won against UNC. The season is one that should really lead to some deep introspective thinking. Look at where we started this season. There was talk about ACC championship. There was talk about college football playoff dark horse. There was talk about this transfer portal class putting you over the top. Now, the Grayson McCall situation isn't one that you could have predicted, right? He had the head injury and ended up retiring. But I don't think quarterback was the issue down the stretch. I think C.J. Bailey stepped in admirably. I think some of the offensive line, I think some of the defense, I think the glitz and the glamour of spending a whole bunch of NIL money on the fantasy football positions, maybe you take 50% of that cash that went to wide receivers and everything and you put it at linebacker and it's a different beast. You have to look at the process and the decisions that got you in the place you were leading into the UNC game. Enjoy the UNC game as a oasis in a desert. Enjoy the UNC game, but don't let it distract you from the hard conversations that need to take place in order for you to achieve the dreams that you want to achieve. But again, CJ Bailey can be a part of that if you can keep him around. Dave Doran on CJ Bailey's growth this season after the game.
Oh, he's grown. Yeah. Oh, no doubt. His confidence is through the roof, you know. But so is his humility, and that's what makes him a special guy, you know. He cares deeply about the program, his team, and he was in it to win it today, man. He was fired up playing that game.
I actually, I think he improved as a player. I don't think his confidence did. He seemed like he had the confidence from the jump.
He's got a swagger to him.
One of his very first games, and by the way, I talked about this on the Pack Therapy podcast back when it took place, so this is not 2020 hindsight. Before he went out there for his first drive, they cut to him on the sideline, and he was yawning. It was a night game, and he was yawning. And some people might look at that and go like, oh, gosh, he's not locked in, he's not ready. I looked at it and thought, how relaxed is this true freshman early in his career getting a start and going out there and expecting to make plays? His confidence, I don't think, was ever something that needed to develop. I think his body is. I think he needs to put on weight. Some of his decision-making, I think he needs to get better at. But his confidence was there from the jump, which I think is commendable. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Tim Donnelly here for Capital Financial Advisory Group. Have you heard of the GPI Index? If you haven't, you need to call Coach Pete and Capital Financial because they are revolutionizing the retirement planning game with the use of Coach Pete's GPI Index. It's a financial planning resource, right, with a completely unique formula that helps them decide the best way to plan for your retirement. And why is it important to have a GPI index? It's to customize. I talk often about how we all have different wants and needs, right? My financial situation is different than yours, is different than your neighbors, is different than your kids' teachers, is different than your coworkers. So why in the world would we go somewhere where they give you the blanket kind of boilerplate retirement plan? No, what lifestyle do you want to lead in retirement? How long do you want to work? How much are you putting away? How much are you willing to put away? How much risk are you comfortable with? We all might have different answers to those questions, and we might have different answers to a billion questions other than that. GPI Index, which takes all of that into account, the valuable tool, can work for you now and along your journey to customizing your retirement plan. Call right now, and Coach Pete will do all of that, including the GPI Index score, at no cost if you tell him I sent you. So give him a call, 800-691-3215. That's 800-691-3215. Or text my name, Tim, to 600-700. Again, that's TIM to 600-700 in a text. They'll know what that means. Right now, it's time for the numbers game. And as promised, we have a pair of tickets to the Hurricanes game tomorrow. Carolina Hurricanes versus the Kraken tomorrow at the Lenovo Center tomorrow night. If you want to go, you just have to win the numbers game. We have a pair of tickets going to the winner. If you want to win, you got to play. If you want to play, you have to call in now. The number to call, 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326. Numbers game coming up next.
We're kicking it this fall with college football. Join 99.9 The Fan all season long and catch your favorite teams in action. The ACC, the SEC, and every conference that matters. You'll find the best matchups here.
The Blue Devils up 21-20, and they got their arms reaching for that bell.
College football on 99.9 The Fan is brought to you by Wake Med, Sammy's Tap and Grill, and Roofworks.
A new game has landed in North Carolina. Officials are calling this new species of game Cash Pop. So easy to play, it's out of this world. Reports confirm you just pick and match one number to win up to $2,500. With 5 drawings every day, cash landings have been cited across the state. So be on the lookout for Cash Pop from the North Carolina Education Lottery. The wins are out there. Must be 18 to play. See Cash Pop prize and odds chart at nclottery.com for details. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Martha was ready to switch to a career in IT.
There's always a need for IT specialists, especially with AI coming out and cybersecurity. It's practically recession-proof.
My Computer Career even provides job placement help.
The career specialists, they're very helpful. They care about you as a person. You're not just a number to them. I would recommend My Computer Career wholeheartedly to anyone.
Take the free career evaluation today. Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. Not available in Washington State.
Here's Megan with Parkway Sleep Centers.
Are sleepless nights affecting your life? Parkway Sleep Health Centers can help. We've treated sleep disorders in the Triangle and beyond for over 20 years. We offer sleep studies, office visits, CPAP machines, supplies, and more. And our streamlined process allows us to see you sooner and usually saves hundreds of dollars.
End sleep problems. Live your best life. Experience the Parkway Sleep difference. Visit parkwaysleep.com and start your journey to better sleep today. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep. Sound health.
Hey guys, this is Marcy Bailey from Bailey's Fine Jewelry, and we know that you want to get your wife or girlfriend something special this Christmas. But sometimes you just don't know what to get. You wonder, what will she like? What will make her feel special? What will make her say, wow? At Bailey's Fine Jewelry, we have experts that are here to help. We specialize in making you look like a hero. You can even send her in to make a wish list that we keep on file to help make your life just a little bit easier. Bailey's has the largest selection of jewelry in North Carolina, including designers like David Yurman, Lagos, Marco Biccigo, and Apolita, as well as beautifully curated Bailey's collections. And don't fret, because if for some reason she doesn't love your gift, we have a 30-day return policy. Our goal is to be your go-to jeweler for life. Bailey's Fine Jewelry, located in Raleigh's Village District, Crabtree Valley Mall, and Cary's Fenton. Also in Rocky Mount and Greenville. Every woman wants a Bailey box under the tree.
In this year with a bang at Atlantic Spas and Billiards. Great savings on hot tubs from Hot Spring and Caldera. In stock and ready for delivery. Indoor and outdoor saunas from Finleo. Big time factory direct savings. Huge selection of indoor and outdoor pool tables, shuffleboards, table tennis, foosball, and air hockey. A super grill department featuring the Green Mountain Pellet Grill. Elevate your leisure experience with Atlantic Spas and Billiards. Glenwood Avenue, Raleigh, Market Street, Wilmington. Stop by today.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I haven't been on the show since, last Tuesday? I've missed the numbers game. It's fun to do. It's fun to play. We have Frank and Clayton on the line. We have Kyle and Fuquay-Varina on the line. And they will battle it out in the numbers game for a pair of tickets to the Canes game tomorrow night against Seattle at the Lenovo Center. With that being said, we need to ask a question and pick our favorite answer to see who goes first. We'll start with Frank and Clayton. Frank, are you there?
I am here.
All right. The question, as it so often is on Mondays, is what was the highlight of your past weekend? But because we're a sports show, make it sports related.
I would say NC State definitely beating Carolina.
Okay.
That was awesome. I was kind of taken back by what happened at the end, though, unfortunately. So I wish they would just take that flag pole stuff, whatever they do, and just do away with it somehow. So it just turns into trouble all the time.
All right.
But go State.
So a little bittersweet, little sour and a little sweet, little both sides. Yeah. Frank, appreciate it. Go ahead and stay on the line. We'll see if that gets you first dibs. Kyle and Fuquay-Varina, same question to you. What was the highlight of your weekend? But because we're a sports show, keep it sports related.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to say the same thing. It was the NC State victory over UNC. However, got a little twist on it. I actually took my daughter to the game, her first game, and she's a junior in high school, and we got tickets in front of the cheerleaders, and for her to see the cheerleaders, and to possibly talk her into applying to go cheerleading at NC State.
Look at that. I will say traditionally, and Dennis is our judge, if you say like same answer as them, usually that means, it's like, all right, you've told us that's the better answer. But you did add the family twist, which we do often lean family on and picking the winner as well. So Dennis, Tough question. Who gets to go first?
This one makes it very, very difficult in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
But they both said the same thing. And when you say, well, I'm going to go with what the first person said, that's probably going to go with that.
All right. So Frank and Clayton gets to go first. But Kyle, good luck in convincing your daughter to chase some dreams.
Yeah, go for it.
Frank and Clayton get to go first. Kyle, stay on the line. You will have your chance. I promise. Frank, are you there?
I'm here.
All right. The categories for you to choose are NFL, Drews and Andrews, obviously all players with Drew or Andrew somewhere in their name. NFL players born in the last week of November. NBA players, we're talking Charlotte Hornets and Bobcats of the last 20 years. Or NHL players, Hurricanes only.
Canes only.
Oh, confident. I like it. We're going for Canes tickets. That makes sense. I will give you the team and the player. I will say the team, even though we know it in this category, to keep it fair with other categories, timing-wise. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. Any questions before we get started?
No, sir.
All right. If we're all good to go, your time will start when you hear the horn. Martin Necas, Carolina Hurricanes.
88.
Correct. Brent Burns, Carolina Hurricanes.
Who? Brent Burns?
Yep.
8.
Correct. Brady Shea, Carolina Hurricanes.
76.
Correct. Steve Lawrence, Carolina Hurricanes.
Pass.
Brian Allen, Carolina Hurricanes.
5.
Correct. Steven Lawrence, Carolina Hurricanes.
23.
Incorrect. Steven Lawrence, Carolina Hurricanes.
22.
Incorrect. Steven Lawrence, Carolina Hurricanes.
17. Nah, that's Brendan Moore.
Just throwing, yeah. At least you said it before, like, we could get to it, which makes it a little bit better. You were throwing darts there at the end, which I appreciate. Just keep firing away. The number we were looking for was not close, though. It was 78. So would have taken you a lot of dart throws to end up around there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, sir.
4 out of 5 is a very solid showing, though. Started off the week on a good foot. We appreciate it. But there is also room there for Kyle to beat you, so we'll see if it holds up. Kyle and Fuquay-Varine, are you there?
I'm here.
All right. The categories remaining for you to choose from are NFL, Drews and Andrews, players with Drew or Andrew somewhere in their name. NFL players born in the last week of November, or NBA players, we're talking Hornets and Bobcats of the last 20 years.
Let me go with Drews and Andrews.
All right. All players with Drews or Andrews somewhere in their name. I'll give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. Any questions before we get started?
Nope.
All right. You do need all 5 to win, but you have the entire 30 seconds to do so, and your time will start when you hear the horn. Drew Brees, New Orleans Saints.
I didn't hear the name.
Drew Brees, New Orleans Saints.
14.
Incorrect. Andrew Luck, Indianapolis Colts.
14.
Incorrect. Drew Brees, New Orleans Saints.
8.
Incorrect. Andrew Luck, Indianapolis Colts.
18.
Incorrect. Drew Brees, New Orleans Saints.
18.
Incorrect. Andrew Luck, Indianapolis Colts.
Oh, my gosh. 21.
Incorrect. Drew Brees, New Orleans Saints.
11.
Incorrect. Andrew Luck, Indianapolis Colts.
11.
Incorrect. You gave it I like that you kept firing, and they were mostly, until you got into the 20s there at the end, quarterback numbers, which are decent guesses. But Drew Brees, number 9, is what we were looking for. And Andrew Luck, who is the new GM of Stanford football, were number 12 with the Colts.
Okay.
But hopefully you had some fun. Not enough to win, but hopefully you enjoyed yourself.
I did. Thank you.
All right. Sounds good. And that means Frank and Clayton, you are the winner. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you much.
You get to go to the Canes-Kraken game tomorrow at the Lenovo Center. You'll have a pair of tickets. So congrats on that.
Thank you very much.
All right. Go ahead and stay on the line. Dennis has some info he needs to get from you, but you are the winner. We need to look like when we give away Canes tickets, I feel like the callers are going to be very, very Canes focused. So whoever gets to go first is going to have a huge advantage by picking the Canes. So if we're giving away Canes tickets and you're a Canes fan, here's my advice. Put a little extra thought into that question to see who goes first, because choosing the Canes becomes a huge advantage. There are certain kind of guidelines I would give you. If you're the second answerer for our question to see who goes first, don't say, oh, they took my answer. You're telling us who to pick. Maybe go local. We're big local fans. Maybe tug on the heartstrings with family a little bit. No, Dennis is the judge. No Dennis, right? He's big into shoes. He's big into superhero movies. I don't know. Keep that in mind. Just a little bit of advice from me to you. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, and by the way, we have one more segment coming up, which will be the last opportunity for you to get a Monday Soundoff call-in. Whatever you want to sound off on, we want to hear from you, 919-860-5326. But before we get to even that, Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending. You may hear somewhere, Miller Lending's rates, right, their interest rates, their mortgage rates. Oh, ours are lower. You may hear that somewhere else. But make sure you think about it like this. It's like an airline saying our ticket prices are lower without telling you there's a fee for a carry-on and a bigger fee for checked baggage, and there's a fee for water, and there's a fee to use the bathroom, and there's a fee to have a layover, and there's a fee to not have a layover, and there's a fee to not be packed under with the luggage yourself, and there's a fee for this, and by the end, you add up all the fees. Is it really cheaper? That's similar, right? Sure, Miller rates, ours are lower than Miller's, but Miller has no closing costs. Miller has absolutely no third-party fees. I'm talking zero. And if that's the case, start doing the math, right? How long do I have to have a lower rate for me to break even here? And do I expect to be in my house for that long? The average mortgage in our country is 4 years, and it's been that way for decades, sometimes less. So if you're going to be in a house for 2 years and it's going to take you 14 years to break even on having no closing costs, keep that in mind. There's a whole bunch of math that goes into it. I should stop myself from doing math on air, but you can trust Miller Lending to do the math for you and explain it to you in ways you can understand because they did it for me. If they can do it for me, they can do it for you. The number to call is 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377, or you can visit them online to learn more as well at millerlending.com. It's easy to remember, millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, and MLS number 250-2146. As I said, this is your last chance to get your Monday sound off opinion on the air. So if you do have something you want to sound off on, anything from over the weekend, 919-860-5326. It's the Heister Automotive Group hotline, and it'll be open for you for the last segment of the show, 919-860-5326. That and a little bit of conversation from college football coming up after this.
It's bow time. 'Tis the season for food and family, but thanks to Bojangles, you don't have to spend hours in the kitchen when loved ones come home for the holidays. Set down the spatula and put away the mixing bowls, because this holiday season, Bojangles is ready to help you celebrate with all your family favorites like Chicken Supreme, Cajun Filet Biscuits, or a big bow box of hand-breaded chicken, scratch-made biscuits, and fixins for the whole family. We'll make the food so you can focus on making memories. Head to Bojangles and gift yourself a taste of home. It's bow time.
If it's ho-ho-ho time, it's Bo-Bo-Bo time. Time to order a party-sized platter of that bodacious Bojangles flavor before your next holiday celebration. Choose a Bojangles Supremes platter and get 50 whole breast tenderloin fillets. Or go with a Bojangles dessert platter and get 2 dozen Bo-Berry biscuits, 2 dozen cinnamon twists, or 1 dozen of each. It's a platter full of Bo-liciousness. And don't forget to pick up Bojangles gift cards. Just the right gift for anyone on your list. Hurry, it's Bo time.
Make holiday magic this year with something beautiful and timeless from Diamonds Direct. A stunning eternity band, a pair of classic diamond stud earrings, something new and eye-catching from a world-class designer, or maybe you're looking for that perfect engagement ring or a fabulous timepiece. At Diamonds Direct, we have the perfect gifts for the season, starting at around $500. Come and let our experts help you pick out that headliner gift, or for some fabulous ideas, see the online seasonal gift guide now at diamondsdirect.com. You can even chat now with a virtual assistant for the ultimate convenience. Whether you connect online or in person, you're guaranteed to get the extraordinary value, ironclad warranties, and white glove service Diamonds Direct is known for. And to help make your purchase even more affordable, we've got special financing so you can spread out your payments. Get directions, details, special showroom hours, and our holiday gift guide now at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Want to score points with your boss? Recruit RoofWorks to your building maintenance team to handle your commercial roofing needs. Hi, this is Holly with RoofWorks. We've helped hundreds of Triangle businesses with their commercial roof maintenance, repairs, and if necessary, total replacements. Our pros come to your site, assess your roofing needs, and then give you a range of options to fit your budget. And we'd love to work with you. For roof maintenance and repair, contact us today at roofworks.com. That's roof, WERKS.com.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products.
Oh no, my phone.
Hear that? It's the sound of a skater dropping her phone and smashing it on the ice. Yep, it's definitely broken. But at Verizon, we got you. This Black Friday, trade in any phone, any condition from one of our top brands and get a new Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus on Unlimited Ultimate and Watch 7 and Tab S9 FE 5G. That's up to $1,900 in value. So you'll save big on 3 great gifts. Hurry into Verizon this Black Friday. Service plan required for watch and tablet. Up to $1,900 value based on phone, watch, and tablet. Trade in and additional terms apply. See Verizon.com for details.
Welcome to Staples.
Help! My family's in for the holidays and I need gift ideas.
That's why we're here. Staples has amazing deals on everything you need. Photo gifts, laptops, and gaming systems. Even custom holiday cards and shipping solutions to send gifts to the family that can't make it.
Perfect! Have anything for Uncle Frank? I love him, but the guy is never quiet.
Noise-canceling headphones. For you.
You get it.
Unwrap huge holiday savings at Staples. And right now at Staples, save up to $350 on select computers. Ends 12/28, in-store only.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Once again, this is your last time to sound off if you want to on the phone lines. Every Monday, we open up the phone lines for you to sound off on whatever you want to react to. Could be the Canes, could be the goalie situation, could be the Panthers, could be Bryce Young. Doesn't have to be negative, by the way. Sounding off can be positive as well. But the Heister Automotive Group hotline is open for the rest of the show, 919-860-5326. If you want to call in, if you want to sound off, again, 919-860-5326. Your opportunities are endless. NC State football won over the weekend against UNC. Probably feels pretty good. Should feel pretty good. As I said earlier, don't let that mask how you were feeling going in to the final game. Right? If you're judging the full season, I still think the NC State Wolfpack have some tough decisions, some tough conversations that they need to have, and a win against UNC doesn't necessarily change that. It's nice, and it makes you feel better, and it maybe ends up being one of those situations where the tough conversations don't sting as much. You can be in a better mood while having them. But it doesn't change the conversations that need to be had. Derek in Raleigh is on the call-in line. You can be as well. The number is 919-860-5326, the Heister Automotive Group hotline. Derek wants to sound off on NC State and UNC. Derek, thank you for calling in. Go ahead and sound off.
Yeah, and just to preface, I am a diehard Carolina fan.
Okay.
So I'm not just going to come after State. I'm going to come after Carolina as well, but we'll start with State.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have struggled this past year to understand all the hype State gave themselves, and I'm talking about the fan base. After the going to the Final Four this year, NC State was talking about football season like they were going to win a CFP this year. And I'm just really curious what happened with the whole Grayson McCall experience. Felt like the fans really overhyped something, and now they're very excited about beating Carolina and just barely making a bowl. So that's the first thing I want to sound off on.
Gotcha.
The second thing I want to sound off on is Carolina basketball and Hubert Davis. I think Hubert is doing his very best job, but I'm very confused how Carolina came into this season and decided they weren't going to get a 7-footer. And it's not that they didn't try. I get it. But they are wasting one of the best rosters they've ever had, and it's because they don't have a big man down low. That's my take, and that's it.
I appreciate the call. Yeah, I'll agree with you. I think they misevaluated how Grayson McCall would fit into the offense for NC State football, and then the head injuries. That's something that it's tough to blame anyone for. UNC basketball, I still think there is a way they can play where their lack of a traditional big won't hurt them as much. They just haven't unlocked it yet. I think they need to run more. I think they need to perhaps play Drake Powell more because his athleticism can help make up for some of that. I think there is a way that they can play where the lack of a traditional big won't hurt them. We just haven't seen it as of yet. And the best part is it's not March yet, right? It's December 2nd. There's a runway here where you can figure out the best way for your team to play. Let's go back to the Heister Automotive Group hotline for a little Monday sound-off. It's open for all of you, 919-860-5326. We have Mike in Sanford wants to sound off on the CFP, the College Football Playoff. Mike, thank you for calling in. Go ahead and sound off.
Yeah, man, I just I don't know if it's right or wrong. I don't think I'm wrong, but, every year around this time, I root for chaos. And we had a lot of it this past weekend, and I think we got a lot more coming up, and I don't know. South Carolina, man, the more I see them, that's a good football team, and I think it'd be hard to leave them out. And I know they got to jump over a lot of people to get there, but you look at, I imagine everybody in the SEC is probably rooting for SMU this weekend. Because, that Clemson would take a spot, and I think Miami's safely in, and I don't know. I just love this time of year, man. Cause the chaos that's happening and going to happen.
Hey, I appreciate it, and I'll second what you said. Being a fan of chaos, I'll tell you what I'm addicted to. I'm addicted to, like, over the last 3 weeks, and this happens every year, doing if this team beats this team and that team beats that team and this team wins and that team loses, we could have 15 teams tied at 10-2, and all of them would have a good win and a bad loss, and it's like you could get into real chaos. Usually it sorts itself out. South Carolina is a tough one. They have 3 losses, but all to pretty good teams. LSU being kind of the worst one, and I find it hard to put a 3-loss team in. I think 3 losses solidifies you're not the best team in the country, which I think the playoff should be about finding the best team, not necessarily about finding the 12 best teams. It's about finding the best team. So if you've eliminated yourself from being the best, maybe that's it. It's tough. I don't have enough time here to go into all of the details and the nuance of the college football playoff. Matthew in Raleigh is on the call-in line. Heister Automotive Group hotline, 919-860-5326. Didn't mean to cut you off, Matthew. Go ahead and sound off.
Hey, listen, you got to do your advertising, so get it. But so I want to sound off on Ohio State Buckeyes, Ryan Day, Chip Kelly. So I'm a big Ohio State fan, been one since, birth, was born into it. I went to the game this past Saturday, and boy, was that – I feel like I got pepper sprayed in the eyes watching both those offenses go. But, I got a couple problems. First problem, we spent, $21 million on all these players. We can't beat a 500 Michigan team.
That is the rumor.
My second problem is we ran the ball down the middle. It doesn't work the first 25 times. Let's try it 26, see what happens. So that's my problem with Chip Kelly. I know we went for Bill O'Brien, couldn't get him, so then our second choice was Chip Kelly. I know he's a big name, but it seemed pretty apparent to me that game why he, was the second choice. Maybe it's an overreaction. It is Monday. And then third, pretty much the consensus from Buckeye fans, leaving the stadium, talking to family, everything, is the only way Ryan Day keeps his job is by making it to the national championship or winning. I know I sound like a spoiled Buckeyes fan, but that's just kind of how it goes. That's all I got. I just would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Appreciate the call. First of all, Chip Kelly's been there a year. Like, this is his first year there. So I hear a lot of, Ryan Day and Chip Kelly. Maybe you don't like Chip Kelly, and that's fine, but I don't think you should blame Chip Kelly for Ryan Day not being able to beat Michigan. He had Chip Kelly had a bad day. That does not mean that Chip Kelly has had a bad, bunch of days. Ohio State perhaps making it. I have a hard time putting Ohio State in if I'm just being
into the national championship game,
into the college football playoff.
Oh, I think they're in.
I agree they probably are, but
yeah, they're in.
You just got kind of pushed around by Michigan.
Yeah, but they beat Penn State. That's their saving grace.
All right, that's fine. Okay, let's assume they're in. I don't see them getting to the national championship by any stretch. And do you know what else? It's potentially true. It's because of the overreaction of Ohio State fans. Do you know who's having a great year? Kyle McCord. You know who you ran out because he wasn't good and lost one game to Michigan?
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Kyle McCord. I'm not sure you wouldn't want him over Will Howard. But again, we don't have enough time for that. We got to wrap up the show.
I think he just threw for another 400 yards today.
And got a big win over Miami. Thanks. Kind of ruined everything for the ACC. Before we move on, and we do have Panther Talk coming up at 6, here's Dennis Cox.
Hey, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Loan Pronto. Folks, stop letting high-interest debt weigh you down. Pay it all off in days thanks to Loan Pronto's new Rapid Equity Loan. Listen up, especially you homeowners out there. Imagine a completely hassle-free way to cash out your home equity. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's all-new Rapid Equity Loan uses AI-driven technology to get you approved for cash out in as little as 1 day. One client got $100,000 approved in under 24 hours, wiped out their debt, launched a home improvement project, and is now saving over $1,000 a month. Instant approvals, low fixed rates, fast transfers. Get cash to consolidate all your debt and get a fresh start for the new year. Call Loan Pronto now and see how much you qualify for. Imagine, this time next week, you could be credit card debt-free. Don't wait. Get your cash fast. Call 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, is coming to a close. Panther Talk is up next. You'll hear from Dave Canales. Wolfpack Weekly up after that at 7. You'll hear from Kevin Keats, head coach men's basketball, NC State. Thank you for starting your week with us. As always, subscribe to our YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. We'll be back tomorrow for more. Until then, have a great night, everybody, and we'll see you.
Football is on the menu tonight.
Showtime, prime time.
And we're serving up some fresh AFC action.
Hot dog, man.
It's Cleveland and Denver.
Dominate on 3, 1, 2, 3, dominate.
Pre-game